you guys in the back, and then after the first segment, one of us will jump out and then we'll.
Oh. Yeah, we'll definitely rotate this up for sure. If you guys want.
Can you hear the stuff here?
Not really, but maybe. It just depends.
Well, and also, it doesn't look as good on camera. Like, I'd encourage you guys to all sit back here. You don't
Yeah,
have to,
yeah, for sure. That's more than welcome to join back here.
Yeah, I think we go. I'm just right on the edge.
Are we good? Do I need to move it just a little bit?
Maybe just a hair towards me.
Good.
Cool.
Anybody need a water or anything, or?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good right now, sir.
This is an omnidirectional, right? Like right here only, or is it here too?
It's pretty much right in front of you, yeah.
Well, if you have a routine down there.
Yeah, you can keep yours.
All right, well, good morning, Facebook Nation and YouTube as well. Uncensored Wrestling Talk. We got stuff going on right now. We will be going live on the radio, of course, at 10:06 in about 14 minutes. We're a couple of minutes early this morning, but you know what? That's okay. And we have got some awesome special guests in the studio with us. The entire crew that came up for the NWA Showcase, the 2026 Territory Classic that happened last night. The NWA New Mexico crew.
Hello!
And of course, fabulous Freddie Flame.
Well, that's my
Fame. Did I get that right? Fabulous Freddie Flame?
The flame. Flame's a lifestyle.
Fabulous Freddie Fame.
Yes.
There we go. If you would like, please introduce.
Hobo Hank is here with us. He's the world's champion of my friendship.
Well, thanks.
Yeah,
Maybe it's more than the actual championship I've ever held.
the eloquence of elocution. That is Fernando Gonzalez. He's in the back. He is the voice of Duke City Championship Wrestling. So he will be joining us later throughout this broadcast. Mackenzie and Kevin also with us. They run our back of the house, commonly known as the Gorilla in pro wrestling. So we're all excited to be here, and thank you for slumming with us.
And yes, we will be going over the entire event that happened last night. What a historic event. The first time ever that NWA has had a territory tournament like this in 78 years of the existence of the NWA. Wow.
You know, I feel bad for people. For anybody that missed last night's event,
Yeah.
they lost on a great event. I'm telling you right now, you have to wait 2-3 weeks before you're going to see this.
At
So,
least.
shame on you for
About
not
that.
getting tickets to last night events because you missed out on a great
Yeah,
time.
if you were in the area and you didn't come, you definitely missed out. But you know what? Also, something I always say all the time. As soon as those tickets go on sale on HarleyRace.com, if you don't get them within the first couple of days of going on sale, and you decide to wait until the day of, you aren't getting in.
Mm-mm.
You're just not getting in. So,
Absolutely not.
I snuck in the back door.
there you go.
I think you have press pass.
Yeah, I walked in looking like a wrestler.
Okay.
And they said, I have one fanny pack, and they said you're in.
You're a wrestler.
Yeah, you check the heat check.
Results in November. So the polls that are affecting Nate Silver's model showing Texas going blue. In reality, the partisan.
Try to convince me a hurricane is deadly if its name's Lala.
That's what it is. It's hitting
They're
Hawaii.
giving us unassuming names so they can sneak up on you and do more damage. Well, they're at the L's, the next one's gonna be Hurricane Manfred.
Oh, finally. No, so they do ladies one year, men the next year.
Right.
And I'm not trying to gender, because this is obviously conservative talk, so I'm not trying to gender anything. But Lala, I believe, is a lady.
That's what we referred to my grandmother. Simpsons.
Yeah.
So it'll be another year for the
Yeah.
Hurricane Manfred.
You can't have a hurricane that rhymes with the name of the island you're about to hit. Also, is that the wrong ocean? It's not a hurricane. Isn't there a tsunami? What is it? A typhoon?
I thought it would be a tsunami or a typhoon.
Yeah. Well, tsunamis
A
are
monsoon, maybe?
different. No, that's what
No.
it is.
Trouble films.
I
met one.
Yeah, typhoon.
Yeah, because I thought Pacific was a typhoon or
Yeah.
where a
Tsunami's
hurricane
different.
comes up from the south.
Yeah, and then monsoons are, they're just like
Kevin
quick
and
Mackenzie
Mackenzie.
and Fernando. And they're lovely. Mackenzie I've never seen do radio stuff, but Kevin and Fernando are both very good.
I'm not
And then Kevin hosts his own interview show. It's pretty good.
Kenny was telling me a little bit about
And
it.
then Fernando is low key like a super famous voice actor, but you don't tell anyone.
If you've ever been to the
Oh yeah, have you ever been to the history of the Mormon religion? And
In Sullivan, Iowa, I did the entirety of the Mormon Battalion Museum. I voiced all of that.
someday we're gonna have a really weird book.
well, I'll let Fernando do the audio.
The audio book, yeah, there you go.
History of Duke City Championship Wrestling, Volume 1.
Superfan, fruit superfan. You know, this isn't wrestling at the moment, but last night, yesterday,
The best.
I think it was
It
yesterday.
was last night, yeah.
Joshua Baez being called up from the minor leagues for the St. Louis Cardinals. This has never happened. More history happening here. The first time ever that a minor leaguer being called up, his first 3 at-bats, correct, gone, home run each time. 3-run homer in his debut game. Wow.
His first one was the first pitch he ever saw.
Yep.
Yeah, and then Deadpool left, and then Deadpool left in the second.
Do you think they said, hey, we're going to give you a fastball? See to catch it?
Well, on his fourth one was a fly out to deep left, and I mean, but I don't know what Blake Manning left there for the Cubs, but he was on the warning track. You know, it's like they did get him, but I mean, slugging what 4,000?
Yeah. Well, he's leading the minors
Yeah.
in home runs, so.
Yeah.
Did you say leading or leading? Did you go
Leading.
He's
He's
just left.
Right. Someone else might catch him by the end of the season.
Well, he looks the part too. He's like 6'5".
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a
He's a
brick
big
house.
boy.
Check out the
Yeah.
inventory
He
and
is
you guys will
definitely a
prove
big
that your pricing is always super competitive. Correct. We've
this
got
muscle.
so much great inventory
Yeah,
on
what
right
you know what I'm
now.
talking
Many
about?
vehicles
Oh, my muscle.
starting at $15,000
Yeah.
and with our great
Forearm shiver
pricing,
muscle.
we're
Yeah, when you told me that, I was trying to think of what they
You
put
heard it.
on
Great pricing,
wrestling.
great inventory, great people to work with, and there's a reason not to
Bill
have
Goldberg.
over 1,000
Yeah,
five-star reviews.
I guess you're right. Yeah.
Any
Just
dealership, aim higher and go
3
to
home runs in a row to start your
Detroit.
career.
Mountaineermotors.com.
He's on pace to hit 100 for years.
And there's only, a month and 2 weeks left in the season.
He might get 100 bats before the end of the year.
He might.
That's the one I'm looking at. It looks like the way you know
Lala now
wrestling.
downgraded to a tropical storm, but still hitting Hawaii.
6 minutes till we
Already
go
seen the
live on the
damage
radio,
caused
yo.
over on the Big Island, where the governor says we've already seen a number of homes damaged. More than a dozen roofs have been ripped off. 2 homes have been completely swept away because of just heavy rainfall.
Fox Weather's Katie Byrne in Honolulu, with at least 6 people killed by deadly Indiana flooding.
It's really north of the Indianapolis suburbs where we've seen the absolute worst of this. We've been stuck in a setup where we've seen round after round of heavy showers. In some of these communities, as much as a foot of rain has fallen over the course of the last week.
Fox Weather's Adam Klotz. 1 person killed, 4 others hurt in a mass shooting during an outdoor concert in Kentucky Saturday night. No arrests yet. And at least police arresting a 19-year-old Cameron Harris in connection with Saturday's shooting at Virginia State University. 5 people hurt. America's listening to Fox News.
So where else can you get rain, food, and bonds?
I know.
All
In a
in
recent survey,
one area.
23,000 wireless customers. Pure Talk was the only wireless company.
And wrestling in the same room.
Exactly.
Every category.
coverage, support,
This is all we gotta
value,
do.
and data.
Well, to be fair, with global warming.
Switch to Pure Talk
the
today and
state
get
of
any plan,
political
including our top
unrest,
shelf
I
unlimited
think
data
it'd be a
plan,
good day for
which is
us.
$15 for your first 3 months. No contract, no commitment. Dial pound 250.
Getting some
Say Mike
some
Pure.
comments
Let
into the
Pure Talk US
Facebook
customer
chat
service
already there,
help you
Superfan. Trisha McGarry Williams, good morning to all, and a special yeet to Sarge and Timula. Yeet right back to you. And she says also, amazing show last night. And I definitely concur.
Of the most physical, competitive, and non-stop 3-on-3 action. For getting played the way you love. Watch live Saturday on CBS at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, and catch replays Monday on BET.
I'm Taylor Riggs, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stocks finishing lower on weak economic data, Middle East tensions, and declining consumer sentiment. The Dow was down for the week, while the Nasdaq and S&P 500 notched weekly gains. Tech and healthcare were the worst performing sectors, while energy advanced and oil gushed, with West Texas Intermediate crude settling around $82 a barrel. The Dow down 108 points, the Nasdaq lower by 74, S&P 500 down 13. And retailers logged weaker sales in July, with retail sales falling 0.6% last month, which was the biggest decline since May of 2025. Retail earnings are in the spotlight next week, with Walmart, Target, Home Depot, among others, reporting financial results. And shares of Reddit popped over 12% following news of its addition to the S&P 500 before the start of trading on Tuesday. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, investing
5-star, huh?
in you.
I felt so poor last night.
It was minus 5 stars.
I'm Charles Payne. Listen to my Unstoppable Prosperity podcast so I can get you making money right now. 35 years on Wall Street taught me how to successfully invest in the stock market. In my 4-part series, I'm going to teach you too. Some of Fox Business's finest join me to help tell my story, impart crucial lessons from my Unstoppable Prosperity book, and to give you the tools to achieve your own financial dreams.
Listen anytime, everywhere at foxbusinesspodcast.com or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Joe and Fernando all over.
Let's get ready to rumble.
This summer, the NWA territory is alive. Saturday night, August 15th, the National
This will be
Wrestling
an
Alliance
opportunity,
presents the
Oh,
2026 Classic, live from the historic
all these viewers, anybody
in
who buy a wrestling
Troy.
company.
The rising stars of professional wrestling
do
represent
everything
their
wrong all the
territory.
time.
The
Yeah.
night tournament with pride, opportunity, and victory are all on the line.
It's not so much fiduciary debt as it's
High-energy
emotional.
professionals. The wave of live and up close. Doors open at 6. The
2-minute warning.
At 7. Bring the entire family to the Harley Race Wrestling Arena. Get your tickets now at HarleyRace.com. That's HarleyRace.com. Saturday night, August 15th. Don't miss the 2026 Territory Classic presented by the National Wrestling Alliance.
I think one of them books would show that.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Isaac Lowenkron.
Saturday night's NFL preseason action saw the Dallas Cowboys win at Seattle 17-7. Story there, Cowboys undrafted rookie receiver Camden Brown. 2 touchdown receptions, one of them one-handed.
3-step fade to the left side of the end zone, and Brown, did he come up with it? He did. What a catch by Camden Brown on the fade from Joe Milton. Touchdown, Dallas.
I gotta say, Superfan, I hope the Cowboys have an
The
absolutely
Ravens over the
awful
Philadelphia
year
Eagles,
again this
24-7
year.
on the sideline debut of new Ravens head coach Jesse Minter.
Always
Baseball
the
Saturday night,
bridesmaid,
Milwaukee
never the bride.
Brewers
Good.
defeated the Dodgers
Good.
in LA 4-1. The Brewers now lead the Dodgers
the
by
NFL
2
season
games
getting ready to
for the
start
best
up in
record
just a
in the
couple of
National
weeks.
League. And Sonny Gray of
You'll
Boston
hear
won his
all
15th
the
game of
Chiefs
the
games
season,
right here on
tied for
News
the
Radio
American League
105.3
lead
FM,
in the Red
1280
Sox
AM,
4-0
KYRO.
shutout win at Pittsburgh.
From the Meyer Auction and Real Estate Weather Center, here's
Less than
your
30
updated
seconds.
KYRO forecast. A heat advisory remains in effect. Chance for storms today, otherwise sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Daytime highs approaching 90. Chance for storms tonight, lows dip down to about 69, partly cloudy skies. Right now, 76. That's the latest from News Radio KYRO.
And the
I'm
mics are
meteorologist
going
Jennifer
live.
Golshinsky.
Time to bring down that bumper music because we are live inside the Gateway Fiber studio of News Radio 105.3 FM, 1280 AM, KYRO. This is Uncensored Wrestling Talk. Of course, I am Sarge Phillips, and with me this morning, one of my co-hosts, he is the Nematode Nelly. He's the super fan, Tim Williams, and good morning, my friend. How are you feeling this morning?
I'm a little hoarse this morning after screaming last night all night long.
I would imagine so. Imagine so.
Part of the frog in my throat a little bit.
For our radio audience and our folks watching both on Facebook and YouTube, we have got some very awesome special guests this morning in the studio with us. They are the crew from NWA New Mexico. And first, let me introduce you to Fabulous Freddie Fame.
Yes, hi, hello, good morning, and welcome. Thank you for having us here today. Thank you for letting us travel all the way across the country for your weather.
It has been a crazy time for sure. Speaking of weather, that's an awesome segue. I appreciate that. Right now, it is 84 degrees outside. The thunderstorms are going through the area. It feels like 97, and the heat advisory has been extended until 9 o'clock tonight.
They say, Tim, welcome to the jungle.
Right.
That's what they say.
I do have some good news, though, as far as the weather goes. From here on out for the rest of the week, minus Tuesday, mid to low 80s. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for the humidity to be gone. Superfan?
Then it's going to snow.
No! We're not doing that right now.
Snow!
It's not going to happen. Fabulous Freddie Fame, if you would you please introduce the rest of your NWA New Mexico crew?
Yeah, thank you so much. Joining me on the microphone to start the program with you is, well, I'm going to say the heartbeat of pro wrestling in the state of New Mexico, the heartbeat of pro wrestling in the Southwest, founding partner of Duke City Championship Wrestling, now NWA New Mexico, former NWA New Mexico Duke City Championship World Heavyweight Champion, the main eventer of the first main event of the first Duke City Championship Wrestling show some 3 years ago at the historic El Rey Theater, and my personal best friend, Hobo Hank. Hobo, welcome.
Well, that's quite an introduction, Fred.
Thank you, I made it up.
I don't have much to talk about now for that. I think you just summed up my entire run in Albuquerque. But man, I am stoked to be here. I've never ever wrestled in Missouri until last night, and I was shocked at the reception, and it was an unbelievable event to kick it off with. So thank you guys for having us out here.
It's awesome to have you. It's awesome to have you. And your other folks with you.
And throughout the course of the show, we're going to introduce you to a lot of other really exciting individuals, all part of the Duke City Championship Wrestling team, because I think as your listeners are aware, it's so much fellowship is in the world of wrestling, right? And,
absolutely.
And what Hobo Hank is able to do in the ring, he's able to do with support around him. It's, I think NASCAR, think a pit crew, right? Mm-hmm. So how fortunate we are to all to share our own roles. Fernando Gonzalez is with us. He is the voice of Duke City Championship Wrestling. He's the voice of every single broadcast. He will sit down and he will tell you the most eloquent stories you have ever heard about the most absurd things you're ever watching, which is pro wrestling, which is really great. And then also Kevin and McKenzie are with us. Kevin and McKenzie run the back of the house. Industry-wise, it's usually referred to as Gorilla. And they're the guys that literally make pro wrestling work. And there's a reason I said that, because Kevin's going to tell you a little bit about a project he works on as he hosts a really popular interview style program on pro wrestling, which is great. And then we brought McKenzie because eye candy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, right? You know, I do want to say real quick, right off the bat, with your crew, both Kevin and McKenzie.
Yeah.
A great help last night, yesterday, before the show got started going. You know, we did a whole bunch of interviews with each and every one of the competitors, and they were a tremendous help for me yesterday. So thank you so much to both of you, Kevin and McKenzie.
Yeah, they have some talents.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's so interesting here because it's such a combination of skills that we don't necessarily teach each other, right, Tim? So the idea is Hobo Hank was wrestling for 25 years before I met Hobo Hank. And I had worked in talk radio for 20 years before I met Hobo Hank. And Fernando Gonzalez has professionally produced some of the finest audio spoken word of any human being you've ever met for 20 years before he met me. And Kevin had worked in pro wrestling in Oklahoma and other regions for years before he met us. And it's just been finding all the perfect ingredients to put together for this makeshift cake that we're still trying to bake, obviously, all the way through, but it's currently forming, and it's been really great.
Very cool. You know, of course, live on the radio right now. We are also live on our Facebook feed and our YouTube channel. Jump into the interactive chat with your questions and your comments as we go along with this show, and we will definitely answer, you know, your questions and comments. Real quick, you know, a good morning from Stephen Ness from South Missouri, driving all the way up with his lovely wife, Lainey Kate, last night to see the show. About a 3 to almost 4 hour drive for those folks.
Wow, thank you for making it. Yeah.
And then, of course, Mama Bear, Sherry Harley, our WLW merchandise lady. You know, an awesome job that she does as well, saying good morning to everyone here in the studio as well. And Trisha McGarry Williams saying, we loved seeing you wrestle last night, Hobo Hank. Come see us again. And I concur with that one, for sure.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. All you got to do is put in the good word, and if I get an invite, I promise I will be back as soon as they would let me.
For sure. Now, yesterday, Fred, I got to the arena.
Sure.
And found out, not too long afterwards, that we were going to be doing commentary last night for last night's event. And you know, partnering with you on that show, it is such a historic evening. What an amazing time it was to call all the awesome action.
Yeah, and you know, it's neat to have, you know, so many different viewpoints. So my familiarity, obviously, with NW New Mexico and TSW and Dog Pound, you know, because of, well, simply speaking, logistics. You know, we're so close to those individuals, and how fortunate I am to travel to so many NWA shows and, you know, help produce those as well. But it was fun to have both insights, but fun for you, and I think it's going to translate a lot to the broadcast on KPLR 11, the CW, and obviously the YouTube channels, but live in-arena broadcasting for the first time for WLW, and I thought we really took advantage of that and were able to translate the stories that were at that point at our arm's length, you know, to the broadcast. And although it's not hard for me to get excited about Hobo Hank when I'm out broadcasting an event, to be able to see the fans get equally as excited about him the way I did. Hobo, talk a little bit about coming out to this new audience and having a familiar brand in WLW, the NWA, but a brand new audience. Talk a little bit about making that special night even more special for the fans in attendance.
Yeah, you know, I've been doing this for 30 years. This month makes 30 years, and so it's not new to jump in a ring and, you know, do what we do, but coming to a new area is always uncharted territory, and you just never know, you know. And I've been around enough to have, you know, there's some things out there. If you Google Hobo Hank, I've been on Vice, I've been on the, you know, Edge and Christian show and done some things, but certainly not in the fans' eyes out in this neck of the woods. And so I was shocked, you know, when I came out of the curtain and heard a quick, immediate response, and people had their dollars ready to hand me, and the most beautiful poster I've ever seen anyone make of Hobo Hank. It's that was incredible. So you know, and the ones that didn't get it immediately, a minute later they were right along for the ride, and that's pretty cool. And I think that's just a testament to how pro wrestling is such a part of our culture here in this part of the nation. You know, they understand the good, the evil, the history, and the legacy, and it just made me proud to be part of that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then after all these years in NWA, how do you do something new? How do you create something new? And to be part of something that was never done until last night with this amazing brand, it was definitely a top 10 moment for me.
Absolutely. That's awesome to hear. Awesome to hear. And you know, I think in today's day and age now, with social media and YouTube and Facebook and the whole 9 yards, when there's an event that comes up like last night's 2026 Territory Classic, and you know that you're going to be seeing folks coming in from all over the country into this to compete, and there are ways for you to go out and see footage and see, you know, matches of these folks and get familiar with who they are and how they operate, only serves the wrestling fan that much better now, really.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so amazing to think back over the years. And again, I started in 1996. You know, the internet was barely around. YouTube was not a thing.
I was in the 6th grade.
Yeah, I mean, I was 16 years old, 15 years old. So to think, you know, back then, never did I dream of a time that I could have possibly been known, and people would watch my matches from all over the world. You know, things I'm doing in Albuquerque could possibly translate to people. And we were talking this morning about people in Australia messaging me and saying, you know, it's awesome to see you, and glad you're still doing what you're doing. And that's pretty cool, man. Never did I dream of that.
Well, we do have a question for you, Hobo Hank, coming to you from the Facebook feed here. Stephen Ness says, and you got an awesome gift last night. He says, is Hobo going to frame that poster the lady drew for him? That was really cool.
Yes, that's being shipped home right now. In fact, Mackenzie and Kevin are going to make the long drive back to my hometown, so I can keep that forever. In fact, I might even reach out to her and see if I can make a T-shirt out of that. That was amazing.
Her name, superfan Tiff.
Yeah.
Big thank you to her. Yeah, and I connected with her before the show too, and you know, she's a really good example of just how important pro wrestling is. You know, not just an entertainment aspect, but a mental health aspect and a fellowship aspect and a outlet aspect. Because we connected before the show, and it was, hey, why are you excited to be here? And she's like, well, I'm excited to make new friends. And I said, I'm excited to be your friend, Tiffany. You know, and she had the whole catalog of performers. I have goosebumps even talking to you guys about this. Where she had the whole catalog of performers where she had done just these incredibly intricate, like, fan interpretations of their personas. And I think every single wrestler went home with one. And the ones who didn't go home with them, well, they got to come back and get one the next time, right? Because because she built that in the audience. And that's a contribution you can't forecast. Just incredible. She was incredible.
Well, last night, something that I did, and I do this pretty much every event there at the Race Wrestling Arena. I introduced you to it, taking you around the ringside about a half an hour before the show started, and then having you meet a lot of the fans coming in. And you were finding out last night that we had fans coming in from all over the country coming in to see this awesome wrestling going on.
I think I said it in the car ride to the hotel after the show with Hobo Hank and Fernando, but we were talking about, I met a family that came over from Kansas City. They run like some sort of fellowship festival a couple weeks ago, and WLW was out there, and they came over. Fans, obviously from the Davenport area, fans from the Illinois region, fans from, as you mentioned, the Ozarks down in Arkansas. There were, and we're from Albuquerque, and there were fans from Texas. And a guy told me he came over from East Carolina the day before, and before that he had followed
Chase Emery.
Chase Emery.
Yeah, because I've met him outside. He's actually from Detroit.
Yeah.
His name is Fred. He's from Detroit, and he drove 11 hours to see Chase wrestle Friday night, and then another 8 to 10 hours to Troy to watch him the next night.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the NWA fan base, far wide and diverse, and yeah, it was incredible to see them all converge on Troy, Missouri. You know, and anyone outside the Missouri region would say where. You know, and they all make the effort to be here and celebrate this thing. But as good as the wrestlers were, as good as the promotion was, as good as I feel you and I were, Sarge, on broadcast, none of us were as good as the fans in attendance last night. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know, I've said this a few times myself in the past, but it's no truer than today. You know, we've got a lot of things going on in our country, in the world, in fact, that split people sometimes down the middle. You know, families down the middle sometimes. But professional wrestling is one of those entities that brings everybody, no matter who you are, together to enjoy something that is as amazing as professional wrestling together.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just amazing.
Inclusion's huge. You know, we put a special spotlight on our June show specifically for a lot of individuals in the pro wrestling, not just pro wrestling community, but the world's community, in ways to, you know, make sure everyone knows that pro wrestling is inclusive, pro wrestling is important. And outside of that, if you're not willing to embrace that inclusion, how fortunate we are to say, well, you're the heel here. Like you can go.
For sure. Absolutely. We'll try to bring this stuff up here on the screen. You know, it is time for us to go ahead and take our very first break here on Uncensored Wrestling Talk. But when we come back, you know, we are going to jump into all the happenings of last night's NWA Showcase, the 2026 Territory Classic. Don't touch those dials. We will be back in 59 seconds.
Welcome to Main Event.
Mike's clear.
For indifferent customer service, press 2. For confusing pricing, press 3.
For extremely long wait times, stay on the line. We're 87th in line, 85th in line, 87th in line, 85th in line, 85th in line.
Where there was frustration, now there's satisfaction.
Hello, this is Helen at Gateway Fiber. How may I help you?
Isn't it time you refreshed your internet provider? For more
Herb
information, visit
Simmons is here?
gatewayfiber.com.
Yes, sir. Owner and promoter
Family
of
Shoe Store is a local family and veteran-owned tradition in historic downtown Troy, Missouri, dedicated to serving the local community and providing great customer service. Their brands include Red Wing, Irish Setter, Works, Birkenstock, Brooks, Merrill,
And we've had him in the
Skechers,
studio with
Thorogood,
us
as well as
well,
Super Fleet
and what an
insoles,
amazing
state-of-the-art
person
3D foot scanner to ensure you get just the right insoles for you. Finley Shoe Store providing men's and women's quality footwear in Lincoln County area since 1947. Finley Shoes,
And the mics, they're about to go
636-528-8247.
live. Well, welcome back, Uncensored Wrestling Talk Live from the Gateway Fiber Studio of News Radio 105.3 FM, 1280 AM, KYRO. Of course, also we are live on our Facebook feed and our YouTube channel. And Superfan, we have an
Discord.
X channel.
Oh,
we
the
have
X?
X,
Yep.
X first,
Yeah.
always X first.
Well, you're changing now.
No, I never changed that up, my friend. Don't poke my bear.
It's UW Talk KYRO.
There you go. And then also, yes, we do have a Discord channel.
And Uncensored Wrestling Talk Show.
Every day that ends in Y, there is some sort of wrestling event going on. Myself, Superfan, or even our resident referee, HD Daniels, in there talking about anything and everything that is absolutely going on in the world of professional wrestling. And last night, one of the most historic events to happen in the NWA, I'll say it, I'm not unbiased. The NWA Showcase, the 2026 Territory Classic. What an amazing event. And let's go ahead and jump in to all the happenings last night. 4 awesome quarterfinals to start the night off. And first we saw the NWA World League Heavyweight Champion, Camaro Jackson, taking on the Fight the World No Limits Champion, Jake Cross.
Yeah, Jake Cross came out, and you just didn't know. Being at the event last night, you kind of had to wonder who are the other ones wrestling, and going against Camaro. Come on, Camaro's a hometown guy. He had all the pressure against him. He had to perform. He had to step up his game, and in the first match, Cross took him to the limits, but he was able to come and overtake Cross and actually advance to the next round.
Freddie, your thoughts on that match?
Yeah, he's got a lot of talent. Coming up from the South the way he does, and that's not always the easiest same-day trip, So I do think the odds were quite a bit stacked against Jake Cross because Jackson is, number one, never struggled professionally. Number two, never struggled in that building, and he's got that fan base behind him. So Cross came out, and I'm going to say it was a battle of attrition to start it because and you'll see it on the rebroadcast on KPLR Channel 11, the CW. But those guys could have been the main event of any show, of any recording all year, and they were the business to start.
Well, I'm going to say one thing. I think any of the matches and any of the talent that performed last night could have been main eventing the whole
Absolutely,
show.
100%. And of course, yes, on KPLR, excuse me, CW11 here in the St. Louis area, you'll get to see Showdown with all that awesome action. But from what I was told last night, Freddie, it's also going to be put on the NWA YouTube channel before too long as well.
Well, I mean, that's why they brought in the reliever, right? Because they said, Trevor Murdoch said, he said, I'm just going to put Freddie on that. Oh, but were you able to, from the back of the house, because I know you're preparing for your quarterfinal, were you able at all to see Jackson and the start to the night and how the building responded to him?
Early in the night, before my match, I was able to watch from the monitors in the back, and it was incredible. He definitely had the crowd in the palm of his hand as soon as he hit the curtain, and you could tell that it wasn't just him in the ring. He had 200 of his closest friends fighting from behind. So not a surprise that he was able to come out victorious early in the night.
Well, last thought on it too is not just the fan base in attendance, but those that will be so fortunate to see it over the NWA social medias or here terrestrially in St. Louis. You will see Jake Cross's name again.
Oh, yes.
if he's coming to town, you're going to make an appointment to make sure you're at that. And whenever he is on bigger stages and bigger venues, you're definitely going to tune into that as well, because he is exceptional talent. And he's got like a tremendous trainer. You know, like what he does down in Florida to Fight the World with Brian Idol and all those. Brian Idol, the current NWA New Mexico heavyweight champion, you know, he produces guys that can create really good pro wrestling, not just in Florida, but around the country, and Cross is an example.
Very good, very awesome. You know, also in the quarterfinals, we saw a Triple Crown winner from Dog Pound Championship and their current heavyweight champion, Caramel Lightning, taking on Connor Martin, who was trained by the infamous Dr. Tom Pritchard, Freddie.
I mean, that's a pretty good resume.
Yeah, I mean, how can you be bad trained by Dr. Tom? It's pretty impossible.
Yeah, I have the best anecdotal. Me and Dr. Tom sat on a layover one time in Atlanta. Maybe we were in Atlanta for hours, and it was the amount of strangers that just passing through. Because he's not like a forward TV guy. He's not a guy you would see on commercials or whatever. But the amount of fandom that just followed him through an airport, I was in awe of Dr. Tom. He's a special individual.
Real quick from the Facebook chat, the Duke City Warriors saying, just stopping by to show some love. Keep doing your thing. We appreciate you coming in, and you know, please, your questions and your comments from anyone that's in both the YouTube and the Facebook. I'm covering the Facebook. Superfan, you're watching the YouTube.
YouTube hasn't got anything yet.
But we'll get some stuff going hopefully soon. Your advantage point from where you were sitting, Superfan, in this match between Connor Martin and Caramel Lightning.
You know, Caramel Lightning, it just shows the fans and how knowledgeable we were. Caramel Lightning put a promo against Harley Race and kind of dissing our whole group. And I think our group showed him what we thought of him last night. I mean, he walked through the door, and he was yapping and yapping and yapping and yapping all the way through those. And we were just giving it right back at him. So,
well, and you give it right back at him to the degree of he won that match.
Yeah.
Like it was, he talked about it, and then he acted upon it. And then when he left to the cheers of the boos, the WWE fan base. But an exceptional talent too. There's a reason he's won as many titles as often as he has in the territories he's been fortunate to wrestle in.
Absolutely. And you know, also I would be remiss not to mention that both of those gentlemen, both Martin and Lightning, former football players as well. So athletes all the way around.
It was almost the whole roster. I know Hobo Hank obviously had a amateur career in wrestling, and I know Chase Emery had a very similar story. And you know, a lot of these guys, you know, they find the world of pro wrestling entertainment through the world of athletics. You know, and football and wrestling often the path for a lot of these individuals.
Absolutely. Match number 3 last night of the quarterfinals. We saw a former Gordon Webb, North Carolina state champion, an amateur champion coming in, a 7-year veteran. Chase Emery, representing Joe Kazana Promotions, taking on Cody James from Cody Country, NWA Chicago, Freddie.
Yeah, as much as I hate Joe Kazana, that's as much as I like Chase Emery, right? He's the most handsome human being I've ever stood next to. I can't think of another dude who is better looking than Chase Emery. And I went through I thought of Hobo Hank, I thought of Fernando Gonzalez, and neither of them were Chase Emery. But he came out, looked the part, and then, as you mentioned, had a heck of a performance in that first round matchup. And that, again, is a testament to Joe Kazana Promotions. That's a testament to not just Joe, but his sons, AJ and Casey Kazana, former tag team champions for NWA New Mexico. They produce really good talent out there in those Smoky Mountains, and they're dialed into the world of pro wrestling.
From Cameron Lockmere in the Facebook chat saying, Hobo Hank, Hobo Hank, Hobo Hank.
Did you hear that last night?
I did, man. It's always nice to hear that. I love hearing that in Albuquerque, but it's even a little bit sweeter maybe being halfway across the country hearing it over here, so thank you.
How much do you guys want to grade pro wrestling up real quick? So before the show, Fernando Gonzalez, who does our broadcast, he went through and peppered the crowd with Hobo Hank t-shirts. So as all the fan base shows up, they're like, who? Hobo Hank? And Fernando's like, yeah, no, he's the best. Like, he wants you to have this T-shirt. So by the time Hobo Hank comes out, the crowd, it looks like a Duke City audience because they're all wearing Hobo Hank T-shirts, and I'm on the broadcast just laughing. I cannot handle it. I don't want to break, but it was the most carny thing ever done by Fernando, and you can ask that about him whenever he sits in after the break.
Well, with this being a wrestling show, I got to ask you a wrestling question here, Freddie. What is your beef with Joe Kazana?
His face. I mean, I hate Joe Kazana. I hate Joe Kazana's white hat. I hate that he claims to do it by the book. I hate his stupid jacket. I hate that in Tennessee he's a hero and that makes Tennessee dumb. Like, Joe Kazana, to me, is the worst human being that's ever done me wrong professionally in the history of all sports. But also, he makes really good pro wrestlers, so it's like a tough one. It's like a tough one.
So it sounds like you're inviting him to Thanksgiving dinner.
If Joe Kazana wants to get poisoned, it sounds like.
Dressed like the Colonel, he can bring the chicken.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, the way he's treated Hobo Hank professionally, the way that he's treated our former tag team champions, Pretty City Express, the way that he, in alignment with the Dasterous Matthew Robles, has interfered time and time again in the world of Duke City Championship Wrestling, NW New Mexico. How about this, Hobo Hank? How about we go to Tennessee? First of all, I'm sorry, we have to go to Tennessee. We walk in there and we have his crowd cheer for Hobo Hank, and then he can understand just who Joe Kazana is, which is fortunate to be in our radar.
I think let's make this an official challenge.
Yeah,
I would be willing to fly all the way to Tennessee to,
He can. I'll buy it. I'll buy the flights for us.
I like it. I think this is a plan.
An official challenge right here on Uncensored Wrestling Talk. I'm loving it.
Heard it here first.
I'm loving it. Wow. Of course, Chase Emery picking up that win against Cody James, and I know you were pretty excited about Chase Emery getting that victory.
Yeah, he looks like $1 million. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he wrestles very good, and I think I said it on the broadcast, but he is every 13-year-old kid's favorite wrestler. He looks like what every kid who's getting excited about the world of wrestling looks for in a wrestler. His size, kids could relate to him. His look, kids, clean shaven, like he's the thing where he walks into a building and the kids in the building are gonna respond to him.
When I saw him, I was thinking that he and Carson Drake could make quite the duo tag team. They have the same vibe. Yeah. Good looking gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean, even that's what my wife said, who sat in next to me. The first she said, "Oh, it looks like Carson Drake," but she goes, "He needs to learn something from Carson Drake too."
Well,
she does not like Carson Drake, but hey, the guy knows what he's doing.
As far as Cody James goes, he had just recently come out of retirement.
Correct.
I believe, if I remember correctly, this was only his third wrestling show that he's performed at since coming out of retirement.
Yeah, and he was an NWA regular roster guy for a long time, and that's a huge deal. Like, I don't necessarily know if all fans are aware of the dedication and effort that takes, and as you mentioned, a 3-year hiatus, and then returning to and regularly performing in NWA Chicago, and he and Daisy Kill, and some of the talent up there putting on really great shows. And, who's regularly at those shows? Well, the owner of the NWA, Billy Corgan, so he's used to being in front of the biggest and most important audiences. And he came down here and he told Troy how he was going to make it his own. And unfortunately for it didn't work out the way he speculated. But, just a real talented performer. And similar to Emery, physically speaking, you can't draw that. Like, he's got size, he's got speed, he's got capability, and
he's got the looks.
Yeah, and those guys, they told a story that will make sure I read their next chapter.
And then also with Chase Emery, for as much as what Cody James has done in the world of professional wrestling, 7-year veteran for Chase Emery, and really in today's age now, that's really a couple of cups of coffee. It's not a very long time frame. But with that being said, a tour over in England, all over the country here in the United States, as well as going over to Japan to Pro Wrestling Noah as well. So he was quite the experience that he's gained over this short amount of time.
Well, I don't want to speak for you, Hobo Hank, but if Joe Kazana wants to bring him to Albuquerque, New Mexico, you can beat him up.
That would be a great night for Albuquerque. Hey, I'm all in. Whatever Joe Kazana wants to do, I'm 100% in.
Yeah.
So I got a couple of quick things from the YouTube chat. At WWLTD, they say the only good guy in Tennessee is Santa Vol.
Okay.
They also said, I was at NWA 78 and last night topped it easily.
Wow.
The territory reps tore the house down last night. Very impressed with everyone.
That's interesting. Very cool.
Well, in the Harley Race Arena, it's a 2300 arena, right? Harley Race Arena. These are all iconic venues
For
in
sure.
wrestling. So jealous am I of that fandom to be able to experience both those.
You know, I got the honor to be able to go and help out with NWA 73, 4, and 5 when it was here in the St. Louis area. And it was a tremendous shows all the way around, tremendous experience, great people to get to know and learn from and everything. But you know what? I kind of agree with him that this last night's event was one of the better NWA events, I think, personally, that I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth there. Well, and we open in the A block talking about the fandom of WLW and talking about how they enhance that experience. And St. Louis fan, Midwest fan is not East Coast fan. East Coast fan has an energy and a history of being smarter than the business. And they have an energy and a history of trying to hijack the product.
They
have
think.
they do, right? and St. Louis fan and Midwest fan embraces the product. They enhance the show. And if there's two competitors in the ring, they become the third competitor outside the ring, with their contributions. So I would say, and I didn't get the name of that commenter, so I'm sorry, but I would say whoever that individual was on the YouTube, they are correct. And I don't know if it's the talent in the ring, but I'm telling you, it's the fan base that surrounds it here. It is a special firecracker that we were fortunate to help set off last night.
Very, very cool. Now we get to the match that NWA New Mexico owned Hobo Hank was involved in. But you know what? Before we get to that match, I understand that last weekend, Hobo, you had to go through a tournament as well just to get to this tournament down there in New Mexico.
Yes, and I'm not getting any younger. Do the math. I've been doing this for 30 years, and so just a couple weeks ago, I had to win an 8-man tournament, which involved 3 matches. And our arena that night was not any cooler than the arena that we were in last night. So, it was a tough 3 matches to get here to begin with. But, man, walking into that arena last night made it all worth it.
Very, very cool. All right, Freddie, I got to ask real quick before we continue with this quarterfinal match that Hobo Hank was in. How can people go and see NWA New Mexico?
Yeah, if you want to watch it from the comfort of your smart device, if you want to watch it on your television or similar, watch DCCW.com. That's your easiest bet. It's going to take you to our YouTube channel. On that YouTube channel, we have hundreds of hours of content, including 200 serial episodes of Duke City Championship Wrestling, which we're incredibly proud of. We have a really good production team behind that. Joining us after this break will be Fernando Gonzalez, and he is the voice of that broadcast and has been for years. So he will be able to tell you at length just how fun that is. And then, of course, if you're traveling in the Southwest area or if you want to make the pilgrimage out, please do. Tickets are always available for everything we do at DCCWtickets.com. And if at all you're the type of individual that likes to feel at home while you're away, first of all, we relate to that. But Trevor Murdoch is joining us September the 12th at the historic El Rey Theater. It is King's Landing as Trevor Murdoch comes to town for the first time, where he will fight in my professional wrestling ring, my best friend Hobo Hank, and he will do that in front of hopefully 500 of Hobo Hank's closest friends. And then at the end of that, I'm going to get feedback from Trevor Murdoch on just what I need to do to make it better. So I'm excited about that. But watch DCCW and obviously DukeCityChampionshipWrestling.com. And if you're an individual that loves social media, everything is at DCCW. So wherever you pursue your social media at DCCW, we will be there for you.
Let's jump into this final quarterfinal match from last night. Hobo Hank, you went up against the Texas Style Wrestling heavyweight champion, Mr. Gold Girls in Glory, Bam Bam Malone. Were you able to scout him at all coming into this tournament?
Very little. You know, we had crossed paths once before. We did not wrestle each other, but we were at an event together just outside of Dallas, and so I was aware of Bam Bam.
An event. It was the Crockett Cup.
Well, yes,
Just an event. Nothing big.
You're
Nothing
correct.
big.
You were correct. And to be fair, he was involved in the Crockett Cup tournament. I was not, but I was there at the event, and you know, I was aware of what a talent he was. I was not aware of how big he was until I was right up against him in the ring. He's a bigger guy than I thought, but he's incredible. I mean, he's you know, he may have done some dastardly things to get through the tournament last night, but you cannot deny the talent.
You know, I'm going to say one thing. It's nothing but a cheater. The Texas style Bam Bam Malone was a cheater. That's what he did all night long.
Yeah, everything's bigger in Texas, including Bam Bam's cheating. Like, he's dastardly. I hate him with all my heart. I want his cereal to taste. I want the milk spoiled this morning. I want his coffee cold. I want
Just nothing but buttermilk.
Yeah, I want him to accidentally put diesel in his car on the way home. Like, I want everything that can happen to an individual to happen to he, as long as it is awful and terrible, because he deserves it. And I love you, Hobo.
Well, I'll tell you what, there is karma in this world. I'll tell you why I know that for a fact, because Bam Bam Malone has a tattoo of Guns N' Roses on his left arm. And you and I will be at Guns N' Roses tonight at St. Louis, Missouri, and he will not. So there you go. You may have won last night. You won the battle, Malone, but you lost the war, my friend.
I believe he had tickets to Guns N' Roses, but I made a call. I said, I said, hey, Busch Stadium. I said, is Bill DeWitt there? They said, no, not anymore. I said, give me whoever's there. And I said, listen, if old BB Malone comes in here, go ahead and shush him away.
I showed him the footage of the tight pull and the Claymore after the fact, and no more Bam Bam.
Well, I gotta say, I mean, you put up a heck of a match. You put up a heck of a fight against Bam Bam Malone last night, and I, for one, do hope that you are able to come back here to the St. Louis area, into the race wrestling arena, because we definitely want to see more of you for sure. But Bam Bam Malone, if it wasn't for his dastardly deeds that he did, you had that match on several different occasions, Freddie. He had that match.
I hooked him in the tornado DDT, and I would have been able to connect with that. The match would have been over for sure, without any question. And had he not had my tights in his hands, I could have kicked out of that last pin. But you know, there's no use crying about it. It is fun to think about. Had I gone on in the tournament, it would have been me versus Chase Emery. That would have been a cool match, you know, and I really would have enjoyed that opportunity to step in the ring with him too. So, hey, it's all right. I'll live to fight another day, and if St. Louis will have me back, I'll be here as soon as y'all let me.
For sure.
When you hooked your hobo tights, how mad were you?
Well, I don't even wear tights. That's the thing. So, I mean, that's pretty messed up, man.
When you grabbed your homeless belt?
My homeless pants. He's grabbing my homeless pants, but. Whatever. It's okay. I had a good time. I got to meet some great people and perform in front of a crowd I'd never been able to do so, and so I'm not gonna cry about it.
And lose.
Yeah, whatever.
Lost fabulously.
It's fine. I've lost to better people than Bam Bam Malone in my lifetime. So,
but you know what? I will also say this: you might have lost that match last night again by nefarious means, but you are the one in that match that really came out the winner, because you gained every person that was in that arena a new fan of Hobo Hank.
I agree. Thank you. That's all that matters, you know. And hit me up, the Real Hobo Hank on Instagram. I follow that the most, and love to keep in contact with everybody I met last night.
For sure. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and take our last break of this very first hour of Uncensored Wrestling Talk. It's only a couple minutes long, and when we come back, we continue on with the NWA Showcase, the 2026 Territory Classic.
Weber Chevrolet. In the auto business, you don't just automatically
I feel you.
120 years.
Fernando Gonzalez.
You've come a very long way. Selling homes and farm implements and the like on the riverfront, where the Arch House.
So I want to know, was anybody giving Bam Bam Malone
in St. Louis and Southern Illinois
hell
areas,
about
all in
his
270 loop.
spray tan ability?
Trust, hard work, and commitment to
Lack thereof, the smiling face from behind.
Yeah,
It's no
that
surprise,
duck
times have
angle I
changed,
caught.
vehicles have changed, car buying has changed, but we're still here to do what we've done for the past 120 years, helping people find great cars and
Somewhat,
trucks
yeah.
to meet their family's needs and budgets. and that's something that nobody else can say. See for yourself why for 120 years, Weber has been the name that you can rely on.
Yeah,
Visit us at any of our locations in Granite City, Columbia, Illinois, and Freeport. You can also find us on Facebook on Weber Automotive.
It was funny when I got there. I mean, I knew going into this thing that this is going to be the best of all the territories, and a lot of these guys are vying for an actual position.
People are talking about Don Julio's Mexican restaurant in the Winfield Plaza and
I knew I
Don
would be
Julio's Taco Express at number 3 Troy Center. Setting the standard for authentic Mexican food and great drinks. Carry out or dine in 7 days a week at both great locations. Stop in or order online for carry out at donjulioswinfield.com or donjuliostroy.com. Don Julio's Mexican restaurant in the Winfield Plaza and Don Julio's Taco Express at number 3 Troy Center. And don't forget, buy one, get one free on Wednesday in Troy and on Monday in Winfield. That's Don Julio's Mexican restaurant in the Winfield Plaza and Don Julio's Taco Express at number 3 Troy Center. Veteran-owned and operated. Bringing great authentic Mexican food home to Lincoln County. Hasta pronto.
The Wrecking Crew. What do you guys do here?
We recycle. Our typical business is picking up stuff that nobody else can get.
People may have a lot of money laying in their property and they just don't realize it.
They do. A lot of money sometimes, and not where you would think it would be.
Where are you located?
Detroit, Winfield, and Vandalia, Missouri. Then we do boxes, trailers. We cut stuff up on site. We do insurance work. Farmers, if you have a burnt building or wind damaged building or grain bin, that's our specialty.
How'd they get a hold of you?
Call me personally or call the office.
The Wrecking Crew. 636-462-1727.
A fireman.
Old Mineral Lumber Company has the really big tools you need to get the job done right. Not only in the retail store, but in the rental area too. Bobcats, excavators, dingos, and lift equipment, including a 65-foot boom lift, scissor lifts, and more. Need something a little smaller? Old Mineral Lumber Company rents saws, log splitters, jackhammers, water pumps, and dump trailers. Just about anything delivered to your job site. Take a look online at OMLumber.com.
Operating Engineers Local 513, proud to support the Mizzou Tigers, St. Louis Blues, Kansas City Chiefs, and local high school sports on News Radio KYRO. The Local 513 training program on Highway 61 and F is now accepting apprenticeship applications to build your future. Another great background operation and maintenance programs earn college credits and employment as an operator. Visit the Local 513 training program website at IUOE513.com and start building your future today.
Well, welcome back, Uncensored Wrestling Talk. We are back live from the Gateway Fiber studio of News Radio 105.3 FM, 1280 AM, KYRO. Of course, also on both our Facebook feed and our YouTube channel as well. Join us there if you want to ask questions, comments, what have you, and just see the show itself. Superfan, you got something?
I got our resident referee, H.D. Daniels, popped in. Said, hey everyone, great job last night on the show, representing the territories. It was a pleasure being part of it.
And of course, next weekend on Sunday morning, we'll have the resident referee, Mr. 123 Yeet, H.D. Daniels, back here co-hosting with us again. I can say it every single time. Yeet, yeet, yeet for the H.D. Daniels himself, Mr. 123. Yes.
I know.
Too bad. Get over it. And hey, that's the way that it goes. That's the way that it is. Hey, now taking the place of Fabulous Freddie Fame in the chair, we've got the voice of NWA New Mexico, Mr. Fernando Gonzalez. Good morning, good sir.
Good morning, and I hope everybody out there in Radio Land is having a great time. Well, I hope the time that they're having is as good listening to us as we're having a good time recording here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Talk a little bit about your experiences in the world of professional wrestling, if you would.
Absolutely. So I began my fandom for professional wrestling in the early 80s. And it was just one of those things where, you know, I watched the old territories. I watched a lot of the AWA, which would come and do their live shows in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And it was very easy to just get ensorcelled by the entire thing. And I would go to a lot of the NWA shows. that they would do in Albuquerque, New Mexico, at the Tingley Coliseum when I was a child, and it's honestly such a wonderful thing to come full circle, to go from being that starry-eyed child, watching the shows and watching World Championship Wrestling and all those things, to actually being a promoter with the National Wrestling Alliance, putting these shows on and coming to be able to match talents with folks as wonderful as World League Wrestling. It's absolutely been fantastic. It's been a lot of years, a lot of wrestling journalism before I actually entered into ownership doing this kind of stuff. And it's been a wild ride, but I'll be quite honest with you, Sarge, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Now, myself, I was born in Kansas City, moved over here to St. Louis at a very, very young age, and grew up here in the St. Louis area. And we had a wrestling program called Wrestling at the Chase.
Yep.
And out of the Corrigan Hall room, or the ballroom, I should say, of the Chase Park Plaza Hotel. Ran from about 1958, 1959 until 1983, when the WWF came in and took it over for a couple of years. But here in our area, you were either watching NWA or the WWF, one of those two. Myself, and then of course later on WCW came in the picture, but I digress. During that time frame though, I personally was more of an NWA fan. Now for you, you're talking about NWA and AWA shows. Which one did you gravitate more towards, the NWA or the AWA?
As far as that went, I mean, obviously, you never forget your first love, and I could tell you the exact first wrestling match I ever saw watching the AWA, but the NWA was what utterly captivated me. It was one of those things where, I mean, obviously, in hindsight, I did end up going to college in Minnesota. So, I felt the influence of the Ganyas many years later. But, watching the 605 on the Superstation, World Championship Wrestling, you never forget that. I was able to watch the size of the characters that you went out there seeing, I mean, considering the fact that I was early on enough in my fandom that I was able to see Ric Flair manage to beat Harley Race in the, now I forget, was it Gene Kiniski who was the referee during the match where he ended up beating him?
I believe it was.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah. And it was just, so being able to see something like that when I was a kid, I mean, it was crazy. And, and you never forget it. It was so cool to be able to see those sort of things and watch during this time that was just, they were the golden years of the NWA at that point. And obviously, as we transition into the modern era and you get to see all of the amazing talents who are just lighting up the ring now, I mean, it's honestly, I don't know if it's ever been a better time to be a fan.
And you've been watching wrestling almost as long as I have. I started probably about the mid-'70s myself, being 5 years old, sitting on my grandfather's lap in Kansas City, Missouri, watching Handsome Harley Race on the NWA shows and whatnot. But, since that time frame till now, professional wrestling has just gone through so many different evolutions. What was one of your favorite time periods that you always go, man, I wish that would come back right here, right now?
Honestly, that was it. With everything that you saw in the 80s, it was wonderful because the characters had never been bigger at that time. I mean, it was just I did not watch as much of it because the WWE, then WWF, was not as available in the markets where where I lived, especially not in rural New Mexico. But nevertheless, you got to see things like the fomentation of Hulkamania, which was absolutely crazy. And later, a few years later, I would actually get to see live matches that they did there in the LA Sports Arena, actually. when I was an adolescent, which was really, really cool. And honestly, I think the time that I saw most of my live stuff was the late 80s, early 90s. Now, that may not be the biggest era to a lot of fans, but it really was something that was huge to me. And then at the very end of the 1990s, when I was living in Minnesota, the amount of shows that I got to see at the Target Center, that I got to see at the Roy Wilkins Auditorium, because I managed in one year to see shows that were produced by WCW, by WWE, and by ECW as well. So being able to see things by the big three at that point, honestly, for a fan, I mean, it was an embarrassment of riches at that point, where you could see so many different styles, you could see so many different performers, or obviously the way that people were jumping ship, you know, from one promotion to the other. Sometimes you'd be able to see them on different shows, you know, under different characters or what have you. And it was so neat to be able to see, and you got to see them interacting with the fans up close, and you got to see, again, you know, anywhere you go, like we saw here in Missouri, how rabid the fans are.
Very cool. Oh, well, Hank, you know, you've been wrestling for a long time right now. Almost 3 decades, as you were saying.
On the dot.
And even longer as I would say, as a wrestling fan as well. What's some of your favorite time periods in the world of professional wrestling?
Well, I was born in 1980, you know, so I grew up, the prime time for me would have been probably 88 to 93. You know, I think that was the best to me, and probably, you know, if you look at the style that I wrestle and kind of what I do in the ring, it's pretty reminiscent of that. You know, but I'm no stranger to the history either, and I grew up in and around Albuquerque, and although I was a little too young to have seen some of those things live, my grandfather and my uncle would tell me stories about Ricky Romero and his superstardom in our area, and the Funks, and how they would wrestle at the Civic Auditorium, and so when I first, you know, I started wrestling professionally when I was 15 years old. I found somebody local that had been in the business, and you know, he agreed to train me, and within about 6 months' time, I was in a van, and he was taking me to meet Ricky Romero, and I started working for Ricky, you know, 16, 17 years old, and working for the Youngbloods, his sons, you know, Chris, Mark, and Ricky Jr., and I worked for them for many years over the side of West Texas, up and down the Panhandle, and down all the way to El Paso. And so I kind of refer to myself jokingly as the Forrest Gump of professional wrestling in Albuquerque, because like, as I'm listening to Fernando recap all these things, I've never been in the middle of everything necessarily until recently, but I've always been adjacent. And so, like, when you're telling stories about the late 90s and you know, you've got the Monday Night Wars, and, you know, behind the scenes, that was the time when, like, WWE, I was on their radar, you know, and they were thinking about bringing me in. And then WCW, I found out that the closure of ECW was happening because I had applied to work there, and you know, things come full circle, and like, eventually I got to work with Eric Bischoff years later. But it was funny because I've been turned down for that because of the closures. So I don't know, wrestling, I have a fascinating history, and I'm just always amazed at how much I got to be a part of it.
Very, very cool. We got about a minute before the top of the hour, and of course, when we do come back, we are going to jump back into the 2026 Territory Classic, and I also want to get, you know, Fernando's thoughts on the commentary, because you were sitting right in front of us when we were doing that as well. But real quick, before we do get out of here for this first hour, from Emmanuel Sale Taylor from the Facebook chat, says Fernando Gonzalez butters toast by just saying so. I like it. I love it.
It's so wonderful to hear from you again, Solly, and I hope you're doing well, and we love you out there, brother.
And we've got about 20 seconds before we go to the top of the hour news. And again, stick around, because our friends from the NWA New Mexico are still going to stick around with us as we go over the rest of the card from the NWA Showcase, the 2026 Territory Classic.
Live from the Gateway Fiber Studios, online at gatewayfiber.com. News Radio 105.3,
one of our performances as well.
KYRO.
Okay,
awesome. Very cool.
News, I know, Turk, a 60-day ceasefire agreement between the U.S.
Gonna have to get that on.
And I don't know about y'all, but I'm gonna step out and have a quick cigarette before we jump back into it.
Nice and sunny.
Yeah. Look at that.
It's nice and sunny.
Yeah.
My very first match that I remember was Rufus R. Jones versus Bulldog Bob Brown.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's very wrestling at the Chase. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Bulldog Bob.
My uncle lived with us for a while. He was, my great uncle would say he was much older, and he grew up in St. Louis. And I heard tons of stories about wrestling at the Chase and just all the wrestling around this area. Whole different history than what we were supposed to.
Yeah, I was with my uncle, and we went to, they actually had, it was a live event in Kansas City at the old stockyard. And then from that point on, I was hooked.
Oh, yeah.
But mine was WCCW, actually, the Von Erichs and the Freebirds
We
is where I just cut my teeth and just like, to me, that's wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple of years in, that was the I ended up seeing their stuff, and back seeing what was it, the Ultimate Warrior when he was still the Dingo Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Gentleman Chris Adams, he was always somebody that I thought was so cool, and I got in just after Gino Hernandez was no longer with us. But what a talent that guy was.
If I would have met Gino, I would have punched him.
Yeah.
He got so much heat.
He was under everybody's skin.
He was so good at it that, and then this is whenever, kayfabe was real in you.
Yeah.
And man, I hated that guy.
And I got to
He's
see
a real deal.
Yeah. Yeah, he seriously was. I got to see Bruiser Brody like just maybe a year before he was gone as well. And it was just because he was kayfabe billed as being from Albuquerque, and he was and in WCCW they had Bill from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and that was just the thing where it was like, no, none of us recognized him, but damn it, he was a hometown boy for us. So yeah, everybody went crazy when they'd see him. It was so cool. Or sometimes they had Bill from Santa Fe, which was like, you'd recognize him if he was in Santa Fe.
Yeah, he would stand out.
So I think a lot of people go, oh, it's New Mexico. Who's there?
Yeah, it's him and Cactus Jack.
Right.
It's a pretty wild history of wrestling as it went down out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, talk about before they were stars, Sting was in UWF, touring the southern Missouri area for a long time.
Yeah.
So I watched Steve Borden from the time he laced his boots.
Really?
Yeah, same. I'd seen, just because again doing a lot of the early visiting family that I had in California. I'd seen Rick Bassman's stuff and saw when he was part of Power Team USA. That was old school. Because him and before he was even Dingo Warrior, when he was still, what the hell was he, Justice or was he Rock at that point? Yeah. And seeing those guys, and it was Mark Miller and Garland Donahoe, I believe, were the other members of Power Team USA.
That's great.
Yeah, it was old school stuff, and they all wore the same black tights. Yeah. And it was once they got out of that, when they became the Blade Runners, was when they put on the almost mime-looking face paint when they went out.
Right.
Yeah. But like after that, when he was part of Hot Stuff International, and Eddie Gilbert was from Every Girl's Dream, and Sting was from Every Man's Nightmare.
Yeah.
I was just a boy, but I remember that was such a cool thing to be billed from,
It's amazing to see where they start and where they finish. Like watching Chelsea, win the women's championship.
Yeah.
And I mean,
the girl has bad luck.
She's incredible. She and I, we worked a show in one of the divest places and had lunch in the dressing room years ago. And to think like she was in that same building and now she's where she is incredible.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
I think Shotzi was with her that night too. I mean, she had a great run. And,
I mean,
No.
you feel bad for Chelsea because she's so over, and every time she gets so over, she gets hurt.
Yeah, at the worst possible time.
Right, and it's I don't think it's really her positioning. I think she just accidentally gets the shot to break the orbital.
Yeah.
But the good news is she's got so much freaking charisma that the people are gonna follow her forever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
She can get hurt and be gone and come back. Like everybody's gonna jump right back on the train with her.
Exactly.
She's incredible. She was then, she's now. She's amazing.
A heat advisory remains in effect. Slight chance for storms this afternoon. Otherwise, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. High
You want me to
temperatures
stick
reach
on
up to
this
90.
one more segment and then
Chance
jump
for
off so these guys
storms
can jump
tonight.
on?
Lows of
Whatever
around
you wanna do,
69, partly cloudy skies. Right now, it's 77 degrees. That's the latest from News Radio KYRO. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki.
Jennifer Wojcicki. And the mics are going live. Welcome back. Hour number 2, Uncensored Wrestling Talk. We are live from the Gateway Fiber studio of News Radio 105.3 FM, 1280 AM, KYRO, as well as our Facebook feed and our YouTube channel as well. Jump into those, see all these awesome folks here at the show. Put in your questions and your comments. We would love to hear from you. And, Superfan, we also are on X.
UW Talk KYRO.
And we've now got a Discord channel, which I'm sure HD Daniels will throw in that link very, very soon.
Yes, it's Uncensored Wrestling Talk Show.
Every day that ends in wine, there's some sort of wrestling event going on. And we are in there. Myself, yourself, HD Daniels, sometimes all three of us at the same time, talking about all the happenings going on in the world of professional wrestling.
Wow.
Let's jump back into this. NWA Showcase, the 2026 Territory Classic. And with you being the voice of NWA New Mexico, Fernando Gonzalez, I gotta ask you, you were sitting in front of us, myself and Fabulous Freddie Fame, as we were doing the commentary. Your thoughts on that particular portion of what we were doing last night?
Well, my first thought was, boy, it's such a relief not to have to be the man calling play-by-play during a show as intense as this one. I will be 100% honest with you there, Sarge. But other than that, it was so cool to see, because obviously Fred has so much stake in being able to watch a performer the caliber of our very own Hobo Hank, and hearing, seeing what had happened just with the dastardly actions of Bam Bam Malone, and hearing Fred just crash out on the on the microphone afterwards, and just having all of that venom was honestly, it was something that was pretty amusing for me, because again, I didn't have to be on the receiving end of that. But otherwise, being able to hear the passion that he was putting forth, being able to hear the resolute professionalism in your voice when you're calling the action, and of course, you're behind that microphone for a reason, and that's because you sound real good. So
I appreciate that.
Of course, I was very happy to hear all of that, and it's also one of those where I'm sure you've heard this before, hearing the pleasant hum of somebody's voice in the background, even if you can't make out every word, right?
For sure. And and I just told Freddie a little bit ago, I hope this happens at some point down the road. I would absolutely love to collaborate with you on professional wrestling in the future. It would be such an honor to do that. So let's go ahead and jump in to these semi-final matches. Camaro Jackson, of course, the 2-time NWA World League Heavyweight Champion. And he went through a lot of adversity getting to being a 2-time champion, going up against the likes of Superstar Steve, and also, the former NWA World Television Champion and former heavyweight champion of World League Wrestling as well, Carson Drake. Your thoughts real quick, Fernando, on Camaro Jackson and the way he conducted his business last night.
My goodness, Sarge. Now, when you see Camaro Jackson coming into the ring, the reaction that he gets from the WLW fans was second to none. You know, it was crazy. You get to see him, but you also get to feel that presence up close of what an amazing performer he is, because you see that he's obviously a man who takes care of himself, and he projects that power. The fans know exactly what he's going to say and how they're going to respond to it. And when he steps between the ropes, I mean, you know, when we were making the introductions for everybody who was in that ring, you could tell that a hometown hero, as I'm sure you are well familiar with, Hobo, like that when you're in front of your hometown crowd, that they are going to absolutely be riotous in their approval and love.
For sure, 100%. This match between Camaro Jackson and Caramel Lightning, you know, I'm gonna be honest about this. Jackson was in trouble in several different occasions during this matchup, Fernando.
It's true, because Sweet Caramel Lightning was a very aggressive competitor. He was just a bulldog. He was in there and he was taking whatever means were necessary to be able to secure victory. And you saw it wasn't the first time that Camaro Jackson was facing opponents who were more than willing to take shortcuts to get the 1, 2, 3. And honestly, I was not certain who was going to be able to come out on top in this encounter. They were beating the heck out of each other, quite frankly.
For sure. Now, Hobo Hank, in the back there, you were able to, I guess, relax a little bit after, you know, your night was pretty much essentially ended by that crazy Bam Bam Malone. But you were able to sit back and watch these matches in the back going on. Your thoughts on this particular match between Camaro Jackson and Caramel Lightning?
You know, I think you guys summed it up pretty well. Caramel Lightning, he's willing to do whatever it takes to get to the top, and that's what's going to help keep him at the top of his game out there in Texas. But you know, as Fernando said, I was thinking a lot during this match. You know, listening to the crowd and watching Camaro out there, and he and I walk in the same shoes. We're in two different parts of the world, but I can relate to what he does and how he does it. And you know, when you're the hometown hero, it is an honor and it is a pleasure, and I wouldn't trade it for the world, but what people don't probably realize, it's a ton of pressure. You know, you've essentially got a company strapped to your shoulders, and it is your responsibility to perform every night and to draw the crowd in. And he does a fantastic job. So my hat's off to him.
Superfan.
Yeah, the one thing I really want to say about this, as much as we got on Caramel Lightning, I got to give that guy some props. I mean, he wrestled a great match. He outmaneuvered Camaro Jackson several times. But to be honest, I'd like to see it again.
Yeah.
Please.
It would be awesome.
Whatever we can do to bring those two back, and let's do it again. Let's run it back.
Two heavyweight champions, you know, throwing fists, seeing who the better man really was. And you know, of course, last night Camaro Jackson did come out on top over Caramel Lightning to move on to the finals. But Fernando, that crazy Bam Bam Malone striking again.
Precisely what I was going to say, because you already saw the fact that after his match with Hobo Hank, it's that he couldn't leave well enough alone. You know, he already had to resort to underhanded measures to get the Duke on the man from the Duke City. You know, and then afterwards it was the fact that he was inflicting unnecessary violence after he'd already achieved his goal, and then he has to go in and tilt the odds in his favor against Camaro Jackson by jumping him after as hard fought a match as he'd had against Caramel Lightning.
And yeah, you're absolutely right. And I was really worried about that shoulder injury that Camaro Jackson sustained from that attack from Bam Bam Malone.
Yeah, you saw the fact that he was clearly hurting and it was not just from the end of the match, but going into the finals, you could see that Camaro was really, really on. He'd drawn the short straw on this one as far as odds going into it. He was facing some long odds going in against Bam Bam, and you saw that Bam Bam was doing whatever he could to guarantee victory that night.
Superfan, you got some?
Yeah, I mean, kind of, again, the same thing, but it showed that he had to cheat and try to injure our champion just to try to have an easy victory at the very end.
For sure. But again, like I said, Jackson being able to come out and move on to that final. And then also, of course, in the other semifinal, Chase Emery from Joe Kazana Promotions, he had beaten Cody James to move into this semifinal, and he had the unenviable task of going up against Bam Bam Malone, Fernando.
That is absolutely correct. And the thing is, we've discussed Chase Emery already. The fact that he's got an amazing look. The fact that he's got, he has got an amazing tan. That's a good-looking young man. He has a fantastic physique.
There was no tan lines that we could see.
I wasn't looking. But the thing was, it was like you could tell he's got the ability, he's got the look, he's got the youth, he's got the vigor to be able to go a long way in this business, quite frankly. And if only he were out from under the auspices of Joe Kazana Promotions, because goodness, has that guy been a thorn in our side. I think he could go even further. He's just waiting for the rocket to be strapped to his rear end, gentlemen. But again, the fact that he had to stand across the ring from Bam Bam Malone, it just meant that he was not going to have an easy night in the slightest.
Well, also Miss McKenzie here, she was talking about tan lines earlier, and Chase Emery, he looks awesome. A great tan on that young man, but that tan situation of Bam Bam Malone, something to be desired.
He was smiling at you every time you walked away.
My goodness, yeah, it was an inconsistent hue that was coloring the flesh of one Bam Bam Malone. But you know what? The thing is, just for a little inside baseball here, folks. Usually it helps if you're going to be somebody who needs a little bronze or some of that spray tan to make sure that you look your best in the squared circle. And unfortunately, Bam Bam Malone was such an unlikable character that he probably had to do it himself, which is why he ended up looking like he slept outside for a while. Yeah.
Well, I think it's safe to say that from the Race Wrestling Arena, he did not garner one fan there at the Race Wrestling Arena. Not one.
No love lost there.
Not one.
No, you saw him going, into the crowd and just having words with them, and then even the folks that were trying to reach out to at least show some of that famous Missouri goodwill, to show some of that hospitality, and he just rebuffed them at every turn. No, he wouldn't even give the fans a chance to like him, and I think that's just the way that he liked it.
For sure. Super fan over there. Have you got something on the YouTube? I see that you're looking there.
It's actually from @WWLTD. As much as I prefer to root for the home team, DCCW has arguably the finest announced team in the NWA.
Nice.
Wow. Hey, that is high praise indeed. Thank you so much, WWLTD. We honestly strive to do some of the best work that we can. I myself, again, having been a student of the game for over 40 years, I watched so many different things coming up to be able to know what I was talking about, not the least of which was our previously discussed Wrestling at the Chase, one of the seminal pieces of professional wrestling programming, particularly within the United States, in our history of our sport. And it was something that you never forget. It's so cool to be able to see all of this. But we've all been fans here for years and years, into decades.
Sure.
From whether it's on the side of fandom or whether it's on the side of being a performer. And now that I actually get to do this, it's honestly a privilege that I never could have imagined as a fan. And quite frankly, I wouldn't trade it for anything either.
For sure, 100%. I'm in that same boat with you. And of course, again, if you weren't able to make it to the show last night, if you were in the area or outside around the country and stuff, you'll still be able to get to see this awesome event from the commentary that we did last night on this one. And it'll be shown very, very soon, of course, on the NWA YouTube channel, but also on the Intrigue TV network from Houston all the way up to Boston, Massachusetts, a couple of stations here in Columbia, Missouri as well, St. Joseph, and of course KPLR TV, CW11 right here in St. Louis, Missouri as well. You know, World League Wrestling Showdown episode, and knock on wood, very honored to say this, we are now over 350 episodes of World League Wrestling Showdown. And like I said, 43 years, my friends, 43 years it took for local wrestling to be shown on local airwaves, and it is such an honor. It is such an honor to be able to call professional wrestling.
Is it not? Because you and I, when we had just become acquainted last night, we were actually talking about Showdown, and it is so cool to see all of the talent that ends up coming through here, the talent that has stepped between the ropes in the Harley Race Arena, because man, what a venue and what a crowd that is that you've got here. I mean, now, to be honest, you never see what it's like when you're watching it on the screen as opposed to seeing it up close. Are your fans as crazy every night?
Absolutely, 100%. I'm amazed that we still have a roof super fan.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we get it. We go and we show up and we show out every single time at every event. And, you know, just like last night, I'm glad we were able to prove that, and I believe we have the best fans in the territory.
I'm not going to argue that at all, Superfan. These fans, they were just going off for everybody because, again, like I said, it was so wonderful to be able to come from as disparate a place as Albuquerque, New Mexico, all the way out here to Missouri and experience the same kind of fandom, the same kind of hospitality and fellowship with another promotion under the banner of the NWA. It felt good, it felt right, and I honestly cannot wait until we get to come back this way or until we see you all, you know, coming to see us in Albuquerque.
You never know. You know, I do also wanna give kudos to professional wrestling fans, not just in this area, but from all around the country coming here because, you know, for quite some time, Superfan, and you know this to be true, so many sellouts there at the Race Wrestling Arena. But we've had instances where our boss, the legacy himself, Leland Race, has had to open up more seating in a way, and sometimes it was maybe 20 or 30 more seats, something along those lines, but double sellouts. I mean, it's all because of wrestling fans.
Oh, absolutely. And the biggest thing is there is not a bad seat in that house.
No.
At all.
Can confirm.
And with everything that you saw last night, Fernando, I also, and Hobohang, I've got to make mention of this, and he hates it, but I'm gonna do it. The legacy himself, Leland Race, has got to be one of the hardest workers in this industry, not just inside the ring, but for everything that goes on the outside of the ring. You gentlemen know how hard it is to put on a professional wrestling event. The things leading up to the event, not just the event itself, but everything in between.
Yes.
Wow, what a job the legacy did to get all this pulled off for last night.
I will not argue that. It's to be able to draw forth the premier talent from territories representing the National Wrestling Alliance, you know, the country over, and to be able to get them into this area so that there's going to be an elimination tournament was nothing short of wondrous, quite frankly. But because we've had to do a whole lot to put together a wrestling show, and this was, I mean, it's hard to explain to the fan how much work goes into putting one of these shows together. But to put together a show like this with as many people from as many different promotions for a one-night tournament, to just for love of the game, to be able to let, you know, the fans not just here but across the entirety of the National Wrestling Alliance see what everybody has to do. I mean, it's not just the work ethic that it takes, but the sense of selflessness to bring forth folks from what is, honestly, your competition. We are all in the same boat together, but everyone wants to be the best.
For sure.
Everybody does.
100%.
And to play the host, to let other folks have a showcase, because who's not going to come from somewhere else and want to put on their best and show up whoever it is that happens to be putting it on, and there was an entire field of incredibly impressive candidates and competitors out there last night.
And we said it in the first hour, I'll say it again in the second hour. For myself personally, one of the best NWA shows, regardless of what type of show it was, that went on last night.
It was without precedent. Again, in the 78 years that this has been around, there's never been a show like this before. And the fact that that everybody here was able to be part of wrestling history doing that. I mean, it was not just entertaining, it was an honor, to be quite frank.
Absolutely. And like I said earlier, both Kevin and Mackenzie helping me in the back with the interviews and stuff. We banged those things out one after the other, and had to do it in such a short amount of time frame because we've only got so much time before the show actually starts. So again, kudos to both Kevin and Mackenzie for helping with that, because we all, we are competition, right? Underneath that umbrella of NWA, but we're also family, and we help each other out when it needs to be. And you all stepped up to the plate, and again, thank you so much for everything you all did yesterday.
It's something that I can readily attest to, the helpfulness of Kevin and Mackenzie doing this, because they're on board for every single one of our shows as well. And with the folks who are there, who a lot of times as I say to everybody, there's a whole lot that is not the glamorous side of professional wrestling. There's a whole lot that is not conducted under the spotlight. It's all of those little things, but the thing is, the show does not get done without all of those little things being checked off of the list. And these two honestly step up every single time. You've already got to see the fact that they are two of the most helpful individuals in the business today, and quite frankly, there's never enough credit that you can give. And once I actually get to vacate the chair for the next segment that we do, you'll get to hear from them firsthand exactly what goes into this.
Very, very cool. But back to this semifinal though, Chase Emmering versus Bam Bam Malone, and Bam Bam again, Fernando and Hobo, and Superfan, and Mackenzie and Kevin.
Yeah, that was a great match. Unfortunately, our feed went out in the back for the last two matches, so this is the last match I got to actually watch, but it was a great one. I thought Chase, he could not get that sunset flip to work for him last night, unfortunately, and Bam Bam again was just willing to do whatever it took to get to the finals.
Shenanigans.
He held the rope. Let's call it.
Yeah.
He held the rope.
He did, and it worked for him again. I think you said earlier you'd love to see a match run back and have two people go at it again. I'd like to see those two in the ring again.
Yep.
Absolutely. 100%. And with that being said, we are going to go ahead and take our very first break of this second hour of Uncensored Wrestling Talk. And of course, as always, it's only 59 seconds. And when we come back, ladies action from last night and the finals of the 2026 Territory Classic.
To Meganet. For slow internet, press 1. For indifferent customer service, press 2. For confusing pricing, press 3. For extremely long wait times, stay on the line. For 87th in line, 87th in line, 87th in line.
Where there was frustration, now there's satisfaction.
Hello, this is Helen at Gateway Fiber. How may I help you?
Isn't it time you refreshed your internet provider? For more information, visit gatewayfiber.com.
Family Shoe Store is a local family and veteran-owned tradition in store downtown Troy, Missouri, dedicated to serving the local community and providing great customer service. Their brands include Red Wing, Irish Setter, Works, Birkenstock, Brooks, Mural, New Balance, Skechers, Thorogood, as well as Superfleet insoles, state-of-the-art 3D foot scanner to ensure you get just the right insoles for you. Family Shoe Store providing men's and women's quality footwear in Lincoln County area since 1947. Family Shoes, 636-528-8247.
And the microphones are going live. Well, welcome back. Hour number 2, chugging right along here on Uncensored Wrestling Talk, live from the Gateway Fiber studio of News Radio 105.3 FM, 1280 AM, KYRO, and now joining us in front of one of the mics, Mr. Kevin here, one of the production crew for NWA New Mexico. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, man. How are you, Sarge?
I am just to the moon right now. I am just loving this wrestling life. It is so cool.
It's a wrestling high weekend because it's something that's unprecedented going on this weekend, first time ever, and so much talent in one building, from all over the country.
For sure.
That it's like I said, it's unheard of, and it's a wonderful thing to see.
Now, for yourself, watching things from the back and even coming out there and seeing things from the fan perspective and stuff like that, your thoughts up to this point of everything that we've talked about so far?
Oh, man, well, you covered so many great points in this program already. I don't know how much more I can add, but again, the fact that you have so many people from all over the country, from different promotions, representing different promotions, I don't think there's a show that does that. You have, one person in the on the entire card who represents something locally. Everybody else is practically a stranger. They may have been here before, but they're not representing here. And so what do you do in that aspect? How do you, as we say, how do you get over? And that point, you have to really work hard and make yourself really apparent, make yourself really visible so that you can resonate with the crowd, whether it be, to be cheered, to be booed, to win, to be loved, etc. It's tough work.
For sure. Superfan?
Yeah, on the YouTube chat, WWLTD stated, on a card with an actual hobo on it, Bam Bam Malone still managed to be the biggest bum in the building.
You know what?
I agree.
Bam Bam Forever Alone, maybe. I don't know.
So he's got a new name, Bam Bam Bum. Bam Bam Bum.
I like it.
Last night we also had ladies action going on. First time at the Race Wrestling Arena from Texas Wrestling. The Valkyrie of Venom, Morgan Mercy, showing up at the Race Wrestling Arena.
Yeah, I mean, I threw my fingers for the old time rock and roll as she was coming out. I mean, man, what a big girl. Very tall, and I was just like, okay, let's see what's going to go down on this one.
And I also found out, talking a little bit with her last night, she was 13 years old in Eldon, Missouri, here in the middle of the state, where World League Wrestling was out of for a very long time before they moved here to the Troy area back in 2013-14 time frame. And to find out about that, and now she's in the business and doing very well for herself, Superfan, just goes to show that, you know what? Just because you're quote unquote a wrestling fan, if you think that you can do it and you give the will power, if you've got the will, there's a way, right?
Absolutely. I mean, she has a look about her that, she's going to be rough and tough and take down anybody that she goes in front of. And she brought this big ass chain with her.
The most down woman in Texas, as she called herself last night. But you know what? She had her hands full last night, taking on one Hera. And I know some of you folks have not heard the story of Hera, so I'm going to let you all in on what's going on with this very, very mysterious woman here. A couple of months ago, we had our ladies division champion, Cameron Bernay, defending her championship against Sophia Rose. And that match, it was back and forth, and it was one of those types of matches that you were on the edge of your seat because you didn't know who was going to win this one, who was going to, retain the championship or capture the championship. And the lights went out in the arena. And when the lights go out, it gets extremely dark up inside there. My goodness. But then when the lights came back on, Hera, we had seen video clips of this temple opening up, but you're not really seeing who it was or anything along those lines, Superfan. But in the middle of the ring, there stands Hera, as I've seen it all in all her glory, right? And she didn't just attack one, but she attacked both of those ladies that were having that match.
Yeah, I mean, you could even tell last night, Hera comes out, you just don't know what to think about her. I mean, she's stoic. You can just see the power coming out of her that you just wonder, what is she going to do? And to be honest, she kind of frightens us.
100%.
I think that's why we're
Especially me
silent.
when I'm 2 feet away from her. Because in June, at our June event, I was doing an interview out there in that area where we did the commentary last night with our ladies division champion, Cameron Bernay, having a great speak with her. And then all of a sudden, again, the lights go out. And when they come back on a few moments later, standing not more than 2 or 3 feet away from us was Hera. And I thought, oh goodness, I was cornered. There was nowhere for me to run. And I know Cameron Bernay, she was like, you want some, let's go.
Right.
Let's go. But then, coming in behind her, the spawn of Khan, Attila Khan, Lilith Khan, 6'5", coming in and just doing a number on Cameron Bernay, dragging her to the ring. But during all of this, it was Hera. She wasn't even saying anything. She was just, it was almost if they were on the same mind wave, Superfan.
Yeah.
It was chilling. It was very, very chilling. And yes, Lilith Khan dragged her to that ring, Hera in tow, holding up that championship belt, the ladies division championship, and Lilith Khan double choke slamming Cameron Bernay on that ring mat. It was a sight to see. But then last night, her having her second match here at World League Wrestling, Hera going up against Morgan Mercy. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, Morgan started out the match pretty hot and was kind of taking it to her, but it didn't take long for Hera just to kind of like show her dominance and her statuesque and be able to just start taking over. And you just feel the burn of her just taking over, and you're just like, oh my gosh, what is going to happen?
This was my first time seeing Morgan in person, and just immediate aura was just incredible intimidation and strength and just intensity. It was very overwhelming, and so I was very impressed. I had no doubt that Morgan was going to come out with everything that she had.
I'll give it a different spin. So I'm a huge fan of ladies wrestling. I think WWE, I think, right now the ladies division is incredible, and oftentimes it's my favorite part of the entire event. I think NWA has some incredible women's talent out there. Tiffany Evans, my good friend and my former tag team partner for an event. We had a good time one night together. She's awesome, and there's just so many ladies at that level. When you get down in the indies, I think, unfortunately, some of the women tend to fall into that sea of sameness. They look the same. They wear the same ring attire, and the presentation's so similar. And I remember years ago, Eric Bischoff told me, he said, either you got to be better than, or you got to be different than. And that was the thing that I picked up on these two young ladies last night more than anything. They're different than. And that is cool. I mean, the passion as which you recap the events leading up to it, I think that says it right there. Like, they stand out, and kudos to them.
For sure. And you're right, Superfan. Morgan Mercy was starting to take it to Hera at the beginning of that match, but there was some point in that where, I don't know, it was weird, because Hera, it seemed like she just shrugged everything off of what Morgan Mercy was doing to her and then just took over.
Right. I mean, she literally took the gas out of Morgan. I mean, she walked in the ring and you thought, oh my gosh, Morgan's just going to control the match. She's going to brawl, fight, whatever it takes. And then you just see this match start slowing down. And by the end of it, Hera comes out.
And those stomps that she was laying in, both on the hands and the feet of Morgan Mercy. Hobo Hank, in your time in professional wrestling, have you seen a competitor like Hera before?
No, again, completely different, and that's the thing. I will leave Missouri remembering them, and to do that in this day and age, after decades and decades of wrestling, that is truly something special. So maybe we'll see her in Albuquerque at some point. Who knows?
Yeah. That would be very cool. That would be very cool. And and we have said this many times on this show, me in particular, and I stand behind it 100%. All around the world of professional wrestling, the women's wrestling has been top notch no matter where you go, no matter where you're seeing it. And, I've said it before, I'll say it again. There's 90% of the time, the women's wrestling is better than the men's wrestling. 100%. And it just is. It just is.
100%. There was you can almost flip a switch. The Divas division and all that was excellent, and it brought us into the new age, but there was still guardrails put up, right? Time limits of the matches and just kind of what that presentation was all about. Once that wall finally fell and the ladies were able to do what they could do and the way, they were allowed to get out on the open highway and push the gas. It is incredible what they are doing. I would pay to see them wrestle over some of the men.
For sure. Kevin, part of the production team at NWA New Mexico, Duke City Championship Wrestling. Your thoughts on the women's wrestling, not just for you guys, but all around the world of professional wrestling?
Well, I mean, we've tried to do the same thing with women's wrestling out in Albuquerque. We had main events that was in the women's division for the women's title. And again, somebody very unique. Our first women's champion of the first DCCW Enchanted champion was Zamaya, and this was an individual who's unique, took the exact opposite personality and character that you might have seen in the 90s, early 2000s on wrestling, in the Divas era and stuff like that. Completely turned the table on what you expect women's wrestling to stereotypically be where it was in history and to what it has now become in the pressure. So women's wrestling is 10, 20 steps up to where it was previously in history, and you expect to have a banger of a match. Mm-hmm. Every time you see women get in the ring, they show up, they show out, and it never disappoints. And you're always going to see something incredible, something you didn't expect them to be able to bring you. And it's just going to take your breath away every time.
Very, very true. And also, I'll say this as well. No matter where you are, if you're watching independent wrestling, if you're watching WWE, NWA, AEW, anywhere, honestly, the women's wrestling absolutely deserves, no matter what show it is, to be the main event every single time. It's just how I see it. It's how I feel. We are up against our very last break here on the radio side of things for Uncensored Wrestling Talk. We're going to go ahead and take it, but when we come back, we are going to go over the finals of the NWA Showcase, the 2026 Territory Classic, and we'll do that here in just a few minutes here on Uncensored Wrestling Talk.
Weber Chevrolet. In the auto business, you don't just automatically stick around for 120 years. You gotta earn it. We've come a very long way from selling wagons and farm implements and the like on the riverfront, where the Argent House is. Now, we have 4 great dealerships in the St. Louis and Southern Illinois areas, all in the 270 loop. It's a legacy built on trust, hard work, and commitment to our community. But what matters most is you, our valued customers. It's no surprise, times have changed, vehicles have changed, car buying has changed, but we're still here to do what we've done for the past 120 years, helping people find great cars and trucks to meet their family's needs and budgets. And that's something that nobody else can say. See for yourself why for 120 years, Weber has been the name that you can rely on. Visit us at any of our locations in Granite City, Columbia, Illinois, and Creve Coeur. You can also find us on Facebook on WeberAutomotive.com.
One more 1-minute commercial and we'll jump right back in.
People are talking about Don Julio's Mexican restaurant in the Winfield Plaza and Don Julio's Taco Express at number 3 Troy Center. Setting the standard for authentic Mexican food and great
Give
drinks.
us the sledgehammer.
Carry out or dine in 7 days a week at both great locations. Stop in or order online for carryout at DonJuliosWinfield.com or DonJuliosTroy.com. Don Julio's Mexican Restaurant in the Winfield Plaza and Don Julio's Taco Express at number 3 Troy Center. And don't forget, buy one, get one free on Wednesday in Troy and on Monday in Winfield. That's Don Julio's Mexican Restaurant in the Winfield Plaza and Don Julio's Taco Express at number 3 Troy Center. Veteran-owned and operated, bringing great authentic Mexican food home to Lincoln County. Hasta pronto.
Mexico Live. Welcome back. The last, about 15 minutes, a little less than 15 minutes here on the radio side of things here on Uncensored Wrestling Talk. And now joining us behind the microphone here, and you can see her on the Facebook and the YouTube feeds, Miss McKenzie from the production team of NWA New Mexico. And thank you so much again also for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been great.
Now we've heard from all the gentlemen so far.
Yes.
On this awesome event that occurred last night at the Race Wrestling Arena, your thoughts on everything occurring?
So from going from a mark from me to being in production and getting to help with all of this, this has been the craziest and best journey of my entire life. This was great. And being a part of something so historic was just mind-blowing, and there are no words, at least on my end.
Now, myself and Superfan, and yourself, Kevin, as well, because you run a podcast as well, and we'll have you talk about that here in just a few moments. For this show, it's a 2-hour show on the radio side of things, about 2 hours, 15 minutes to 2:30, depending on what's going on the Facebook and the YouTube feed. But it goes by so quick that before you know it, it's over with. But last night's event, it went even quicker, I think. And man, I just wanted to slow everything down, you know?
Yeah.
I have a reason I disagree. And
Okay. It's
so
okay.
When I'm behind the curtain at Albuquerque, I'm working Gorilla, everything like that. Trying to keep everything together, trying to get all the timings, make the show happen. It will go by very fast. Last night I wasn't actually doing a whole heck of a lot for once, at a wrestling show. So it didn't feel like it went by very quickly to me. But that's just as the person who works backstage. As a fan, like we were sitting in the seats watching a few matches, and yeah, it still went by pretty quick. But I don't know. You watch it in time kind of loses all sense. Like you no longer care about what time it is, how long this is, how long a match. The match could be 25 minutes or 3-minute squash match, which didn't exist last night, and you wouldn't know the difference because the enjoyment and the passion just takes over.
Well, with you all sitting out there with the fans and everything, your guys' thoughts on the incredible crowd that showed up last night at the Race Wrestling Arena.
The energy was unreal. It's so cool to see that from backstage, but to see the fans up close and be around with it was just great. I loved it. How they get into it was just fantastic.
And then, of course, also, as I mentioned earlier, both of you helped with all the interviews going on last night before that awesome event. Your guys' thoughts on that and participating in that, and also the gentlemen and ladies as well that participated in last night's event.
That was very fun. That was actually, so before the show even happens, and I get to meet people that maybe I haven't met before, maybe I haven't seen wrestle before, and then helping with doing the promos and the interviews, I get to see their personalities before the show even comes up, before the fans even walk in the door. And that was a wonderful introduction to seeing what everybody was capable of, and just, again, immediately bringing that energy into my mind, into my soul, and of course, we were trying to bring that energy out of everybody. Because sometimes that's tough to do when there's no people around. There really is. I mean, ask anybody who tried to wrestle during the pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just about to say that myself.
It's
it was
tough.
there. It was very difficult during that time frame.
It was a death sentence most of the time out there. Like it's that's something that.
But thankfully, we all got through it, and here we are.
Oh man, thanks so much. Like just please just keep going. But yeah, no, it was a wonderful thing, and I would love to help out. I always love contributing.
Miss McKenzie?
I have to agree. I love contributing to all of this and to see the different personalities from just. It's hard to put words to it because I'm new to this. I'm a year in and experiencing all of this. So it's all brand new, but it's a fun evolution of how I hope the rest of my life is going to go.
You got
And how-
really excited when Morgan came in to do
Oh,
her
yeah.
interview. Just the
Oh,
character,
yeah.
the character and text.
Her look, her
And the energy she
character,
brought
the
into that room.
energy, it's fantastic. Her being a former athlete, myself as well, it's a good representation for all of us. I love it. I love it so much.
Very cool. Very cool. Let's go ahead and talk about this finals match last night. Camaro Jackson, again, of course, the NWA World League Heavyweight Champion, 2 times over, taking on Bam Bam Malone, Mr. Gold, Girls and Glory, the Texas Style Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. And what, Superfan, what a finals of a match that one was.
Oh, got another comment from @OverMetalSpeaks. Hitting on Bam Bam is a crime.
Wow. Wow, okay. I guess we've got a
Hating on
fan
love
of
is a
Bam Bam
crime.
Malone. I wonder if that's Bam Bam Malone in disguise.
I want to say something. Should I say something? Yeah, I'm gonna say something. Stealing moves is a crime too.
Oh goodness. Oh goodness. But you know, from that attack that he did to Camaro Jackson after Jackson's match with Caramel Lightning, he had him already in trouble in that match.
Yeah.
And had him in trouble pretty much during that entire match, Superfan.
Yeah, I mean, the number that he did on Camaro Jackson after his last match, you really wondered if Camaro Jackson had anything left. And, you know, I guarantee Bam Bam Malone was thinking, hey, I've got a cakewalk now. He's injured. I just got to focus on the shoulder and the arm, and eventually I'm going to take it.
As much as I want to just give so much dislike to Bam Bam as, you know, as a character, just his personality is just something you really
stinks. I'll say it, it stinks.
He is a tough customer. He's a big tough man. He's strong, he's fast, and he can knock down the best of them. And Camaro had no easy task ahead of him.
It's also why he's the heavyweight champion for Texas Style Wrestling as well. He really showed his true colors last night. Ms. McKenzie, your thoughts on that match itself?
No, I have to agree. It looked like Camaro had half a tank left in that car, but he definitely pulled through on that one. Despite all of Bam Bam's efforts, it was not going to work.
Well, Camaro Jackson, you know, over the last couple of years here at World League Wrestling, he has gone through quite a bit of adversity inside that ring against the likes, as I said earlier, Superstar Steve Fender, Carson Drake of the NWA, as well as many, many other folks coming in. And again, he showed up last night in that finals match, Superfan, and showed that adversity does not keep him down for very long at all.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say that the fans really helped keep him going. Because without us last night, I think he might have folded, but he knew he was going to dig deep, and he dug deeper than he's ever dug before.
Home field advantage, you think? Yeah.
Could have been. It could have been. It could very well have been. But, you know, the fans, the professional wrestling fans, not just WLW fans, but professional wrestling fans showed last night that when they get behind someone, they are that extra added boost sometimes that a professional wrestler needs when they're in a hard fought match like it was last night between Bam Bam and Camaro.
Let me start with this here. So a tournament series, because we just had this before. I've seen this kind of things before. You can look at this from a mark perspective or a worker perspective. It's tough to do if you're expected to persevere through 2, 3, 4 or more matches in a night or a weekend or whatever the case may be. That's tough to do. It's tough to get through it. It's tough to come out on top and still be standing. So the energy that the fans bring is so necessary in that point, because when you hear somebody chanting for your name, you're gonna keep going, no matter how much you have left in the tank. That's what Camaro brought. I don't even know if he knew how much he had left, but as soon as he hears the crowd, that crowd brings him back to life, and that's what this industry is about. It's about that interaction, about that give and take, performers in there doing something that the fans appreciate, and the fans are giving back by giving them a reason to keep going. I think that's incredibly important.
Absolutely. And yes, Camaro Jackson coming out on top over Bam Bam Malone last night to become the first ever winner of the 2026 Territory Classic, the NWA Showcase. All the territories underneath that NWA umbrella coming together. What an awesome night for Camaro Jackson. But also what an awesome night for all of the competitors that competed inside that ring at the Race Wrestling Arena. Miss McKenzie?
I think it's for everybody involved, from the fans to the workers to the performers, everybody. It was a great thing to experience.
Superfan?
Yeah, I have to say kudos, and I really have to, from a fan point, I want to say thank you to all the production people, everybody behind the scenes, and to all the wrestlers. They put on an incredible event last night, and it's an event that I'll never forget.
And I'll say it right here, right now. I want to see more. Absolutely. I want to see more of these type of classics happening. We need to keep this going for as long as possible.
If we see it next year,
it's interesting.
Yeah.
Or women's
And
division.
if we see it again next year, for example, where would it be?
That's interesting. That's an interesting
It could be
question.
anywhere all over the country. There's so many territories.
Absolutely. And I don't care if I'm working that event or not. I definitely want to be in attendance for it. For sure.
Make that drive. Make that flight.
And you guys coming up from New Mexico, real quick, we've only got a couple minutes left. But a 17-hour drive,
Look,
you all made.
Look, this
to
is
come
a
up
choice.
with
This was a choice because road trips are just fun for me. We chose to drive instead of fly, but the journey's the same.
I would do it again.
Yeah.
I would do it again for everything that we've experienced and all the friends that we've made.
Yeah.
I would do it again.
Maybe
For
better
sure.
not in the summer. But.
And after we get done with here on the radio and the rest of our streams going on, I've got a couple of places for you guys on the way back to New Mexico that you've definitely got to hit on I-44 going back.
All right, absolutely.
For sure.
Biggest ball of string and...
Oh, yeah.
Buc-ee's.
Let's do it.
Buc-ee's.
We mentioned that already, yeah.
Buc-ee's for sure. Superfan, we've only got about a minute and a half left here on the show on the radio side of things. We'll continue on our Facebook stream and YouTube for a few minutes more. There was so much else also going on in the world of professional wrestling, and we'll have Mackenzie and Kevin here with us still on the streams, as well as we talk a little bit about Monday Night Raw, NXT, AEW as well, Dynamite and Collision, Friday Night SmackDown. All kinds of things going on in the world of professional wrestling. Speak. That's your turn to speak.
I know, absolutely. How are we going to get through it all? This has been a crazy, crazy week of professional wrestling.
It has been.
And I'm just like, okay, let's rock and roll some more. This is 3-hour show. Let's do 3 hours.
Whew.
That's just 1 week out of 52 of the year.
Right.
We'll see what the time frame these folks have, though. But, we'll see about that, Superfan. You are crazy as ever, poking that bear as you like to do. Again, I definitely want to say again, thank you to everybody coming together for last night, especially also to the NWA New Mexico crew coming in this morning to join us on Uncensored Wrestling Talk. It has been a pleasure to have each and every one of you here.
Absolutely.
I hope that, in the future we can collab and do some more stuff because it has been an absolute blast.
Same here. Thank you so much.
And with that being said, until next weekend right here on the radio side of things, you know what? Hey, go watch some wrestling.
This Sunday, rule of law. President Trump's former personal...
And we'll turn that down completely.
So a couple more from Over Metal Speaks. Don't get me wrong, I like all the territories. I like Camaro for power. Then they also say tag team tourney at the Chase.
That would be interesting. That would be an interesting situation right there. But you know what? Tag team tourney at the Chase. No offense. No offense to the NWA stars themselves, right? But I want to see straight territories. Territory tag teams. Let's do it. Let's see who the best of the tag teams really are.
I can just see it. So we have a lot of places out of New Mexico, and of course, we have a big fan base. We pack up the El Rey with a few hundred people. If we get people, we had individuals in the stands, in the seats that were from they're driving all over the country. Isn't that right?
Yep.
If we do something like that,
It would be amazing.
Tingley Coliseum.
Tingley Coliseum, New Mexico.
Rio Rancho Event
Perfect.
Center. We're talking hundreds, maybe 1,000 or 2,000 maybe. Maybe that's reaching. Who knows? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's under reaching. And then we get something like that out there. That's what I'd see. You get.
Ooh.
We actually did a cage match in the Rio Rancho Event Center. It was Hobo Hank and Thunder, who was a champion at the time. That's when won the championship.
Interesting stuff.
Because we can't do a cage match at the El Rey. There's not enough space. There's enough space, but there's not enough maneuverability to get them through.
Mama Bear Sherry Harley from World League Wrestling, she also makes a mention here for you guys on your way back. Uranus, Missouri. There is an awesome little shop there, the Fudge Factory. You've got to get your fudge pack in Uranus.
I knew that was coming.
Gotta do it. You gotta do it.
I've heard this.
It's an experience.
Thank you.
Just remember, the best fudge comes from Uranus.
And then also just outside on this side of Springfield is a huge gas station, basically. It's called Bucky's, right?
Yeah.
And you'll see the big old billboards as you're going down, maybe about 60, 70 miles out from it. Every couple of miles, you're seeing these huge billboards. You've got to go in and check it out. And they've got some of the best chopped brisket sandwiches anywhere.
That's crazy.
Anywhere.
So
definitely, you guys definitely have to
You're
do
selling us
that.
some great spots in Missouri.
We may take a little longer to get home.
I don't know. Maybe I'll take another day for this vacation.
Hey, there you go. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that, adding an extra day to the vacation at all. Let's go ahead, guys, and jump into a little bit of the other professional wrestling happening around the world here. Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Superfan Jey Uso taking on Solo Sikoa. And if Solo Sikoa were to lose, he would have to be delivered to Roman Reigns next week.
Oh my gosh.
Let me say, one word, 3 letters, pew.
I love it. That's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah, I like the fact that Solo's kind of getting over the crowd right now, but man, oh man, oh man, I am so tired of any bloodline story.
You and HD Dad
Wash,
both. I'm
rinse,
telling
repeat.
you guys.
Wash, rinse, repeat.
All
That's
right.
all it is.
So little insight here, because
my best friend out in Albuquerque, he's one of our wrestlers, Saleh Taylor, and he actually has relation. Jacob Fatu is his shoot cousin, and so he's part. That's kind of
Right. Part of the bloodline. He's part of the bloodline.
The thing is that the bloodline gets all the attention from the viewership, the fan base, etc. Anything bloodline, that's what people decide they want to see. I understand a lot of things can be maybe a little overdone, maybe a little too redone. I mean, but then again, you had Rock versus Cena for 2 WrestleManias in a row.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't know.
And of course, John Cena sucks. I'll say that real quick.
I know.
Just toss that in there.
We can't see him anymore, so.
Thank goodness. Well, in the ring competing anyway.
We don't see him. We don't see him in too many good movies either.
He ain't lying, folks.
But what beautiful suits.
He played a drug dealer in a movie one time. It was.
Yeah, that was interesting. I'll say that. That was interesting.
Probably the most entertaining.
Your thoughts, though, Superfan? He's going to be delivered now. He lost to Jey Uso, Solo Sikoa, being delivered to Roman Reigns next week.
Well, unfortunately, since LA Knight is kind of stepping back from Solo and Royce Key is injured, Solo is going to be Solo, so he will be delivered to Roman Reigns. I don't see any swerves. I don't see anything coming out of it, except that they're going to try to force him into the role, and he'll have to be the role for maybe a month. Then he's going to
for sure
turn again.
And then also, of course, on Monday Night Raw, the #1 Contenders tournament, and you know me, I love my tournaments, especially last night's. The #1 Contenders tournament, and this is basically going to happen down at AAA when they're in Mexico City. Penta going up against Laredo Kid and getting that pinfall to advance in that tournament, Superfan.
Yeah, I think it won with just the Destroyer.
The Mexican Destroyer, that's what it is. That's what it's always going to be.
Just a
and it
Destroyer.
doesn't matter what you say.
It's
Boom.
just a Destroyer.
They're upsetting a lot of Canadians right now.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? The Mexican Destroyer started in Mexico first before it became a thing with Petey Williams out of Canada. Sorry.
You know, looking at the
Sorry.
You got to put Penta as the favorite to come out of this one.
For sure. Yeah.
The guy's been on a roll. Yeah, he lost to Chad Gable, but he's on the roll, and I think it'd be a great match to see him against Roman Reigns.
Penta's an incredible performer. I got to see him wrestle in person at All In 2018.
Wow.
And that was the first time I got to see him perform in person. And of course, he was still signed to Impact, now TNA. And this is a guy who can bring it in any match that he's put in, no matter who, no matter where. I've never seen him have a bad match, honestly, ever.
You're not wrong. I haven't either.
That's a hard thing. That's a hard thing.
It is.
That's an accomplishment for any wrestler at that point.
Everybody gets a bad match somewhere. You know, we had Hogan Hank here. I can tell you the bad matches he's had, but I've never seen Penta have a bad match ever.
Now, as far as the storyline goes, and yourself and H.D. Daniels' wish that the bloodline stuff would just come to a stop completely. Austin Theory taking on Akira Tozawa, and that's a storyline that I'm ready to be done with. I don't want to see anymore. It has been a train wreck from the beginning, and is what's the young lady's name? I'm losing. Maxine Dupree. As good as she was getting with the Alpha Academy, straight down. It was like, what the heck just happened here? The plane crashed. You guys' thoughts?
She went from championship material to side piece.
She did.
That I don't. That's a
Champ to chump.
That is my.
It's
That is my. What is it? Trish Stratus. Trish Stratus, one of the greatest women's champions. And then what happened? Gets put as an age or a valet You know, to people like Christian, people like,
Yeah.
you know, etc.
Very true.
It happens. It's a Barry job. That's what I look at it.
I'm ready for that storyline though, Superfan, to be done.
Yeah.
It just hasn't been very good.
I'm more interested in the Braun Breaker versus Obafemi match.
Sure, I
Yeah.
mean that's a different storyline that we're
But-
talking about though.
Yeah.
But you know the one that I feel the most for in all of this, because he's got such great talent, and I don't think it's been utilized very well in the WWE, and that's Otis.
Yes.
I have to agree. We've seen Otis a couple of times, and yeah, they need to use him.
I love that guy.
He's great.
He gets in the ring. It's always something people want to see.
Oh yeah.
And then also with the women, we saw a couple of returns on Monday Night Raw. Former champions both Becky Lynch and Stephanie Vaquer. Wow, La Primera is back.
Yeah, she's.
And so is the man.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it. It's already looking that we're going to see Becky versus Stephanie Vaquer, and I cannot wait for that match. That is going to be a hard-hitting
Do we see
match.
that match first, or do we see Liv taking on Becky Lynch, Liv taking on Stephanie Vaquer, and maybe, well, I mean, she's got Judgment Day behind her, Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, and them getting involved in those matches as well, and we end up actually seeing a triple threat between Liv Morgan, Becky Lynch, and Stephanie Vaquer.
I agree. I think it's going to end up being a triple threat, but I also think that we will see those two score out beforehand, because those two, they're eyeing each other up right now. And it's just one who's going to be froggy enough to jump.
No, I
Who do you think will jump first?
Becky.
Becky. Yeah.
Usually.
I wouldn't be surprised, but you know, also Stephanie Vaquer coming in hot Monday Night Raw. I wouldn't be surprised she tries to step up first either, though. She's from what I've seen and the matches that I've seen with her from down in Mexico and you know AEW as well, and now in WWE, she's a no-nonsense woman. She will get in there and mix it up with no matter who it is, and if you blink twice, you're done. You're done. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So bring it on. Let's see it.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and move on over to AEW action from Wednesday night.
You don't want to talk about Zilla Fatu actually joining NXT?
Well,
that was a
go ahead.
Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
Tuesday night. And you're right. Zilla Fatu
Made us
finally making his appearance at NXT.
I was kind of surprised that they left him down there. I figured they were going to take him to SmackDown.
I'm not like Zilla's. I mean, a lot of us back home have been waiting for that for a long while. Just when, and of course there was, you know, a few snags along the way to get him there. But no, I think NXT is appropriate for him because not because of the crowd, not because of production or showpiece. It's the roster. You put him in the NXT roster. That's a kind of roster where he can really put some shine, you know, into a match before he gets to the main roster, which I don't have. A part of me thinks that a huge percentage of the main roster is not ready to be put in the match with Zilla Fatu yet. You know what I mean?
And I think also it's too soon to bring him up to the main roster to join the bloodline as well. We've got what? Jacob Fatu, both of the Uso brothers, Roman Reigns, now Solo Sikoa going to be delivered. That's 5 right there. And I hate to say it, but I don't want to see NWS type things happening here where you start getting way too many members and it starts watering down everything. I don't want to see that.
It happens to a lot of factions. Any NWO faction, any what was it? It was Bullet Club. That's
Bullet Club.
Aces and Eights.
Aces and Eights. Oh man, I loved the whole Aces and Eights thing. But yeah, they watered it down with probably possibly too many members, and
Yeah, when they start taking out their own members, you got too many.
yeah.
That's one of the I guess you could say that's one of the bad things about professional wrestling is that with so much history that we've got in our world, sometimes we don't learn. We don't learn from our history.
Because they do a lot. They do a lot of faction stuff out in New Japan. You know, they had like Chaos and all that stuff. And some of those guys, they get lost. They get kind of lost in the conversation sometimes because there's so many factions and so many members in each one. So.
Absolutely. All right, AEW Dynamite.
Yeah.
A 3-way triple threat match for the coveted number 2 entry spot in the upcoming Casino Gauntlet match at All In. MJF, Maxwell Jacob Freeman taking on Nick Wayne and Speedball Mike Bailey.
So if you didn't think MJF wasn't going to win this match, I don't know where you're at.
I don't know what planet
you're on.
Yeah.
Come on.
For sure. But you know, I thought that triple threat match was
It was decent.
It was a very good match.
And the MJF played the perfect character, kind of like trying to mentor Nick Wayne during the whole match and trying to show him what to do, what not to do.
But you see, that's where I was like, come on, Nick Wayne. You fell into this with Christian Cage before. Why are you falling for this again with none other than Maxwell Jacob Freeman, MJF? What are you doing here? I wanted to see him turn on him like quick, right then and there.
Temporary alliances happen when there's more than 2 people in a ring.
Very
time.
true.
And so sometimes it's just means to an end, and the end is when the bell rings. So,
Very true. Now, in a few short months, we're going to get the Continental Classic tournament happening in AEW. But right now, we've got the Continental Challenge Cup single elimination. And before we start jumping into this, I'm wondering, as much as I love tournament stuff, I'm wondering if this is a bit too
drawn out.
Not drawn out, but too close together between the Continental Classic tournament itself and this Continental Challenge Cup.
So are you saying tournament was too much?
No, I'm saying too close.
No,
Too close together.
So like the event,
There's a difference.
So like the schematic of it was just too soon together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, maybe, but it really depends. It really depends on how much wrestling you get out of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because tournaments, classics, you can get the most amazing, memorable matches just out of random combinations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, take last night. You know, several people in a building. Is there any real long-term storyline? Do they even freaking know each other? No, but they go out there, the bell rings, and it's
on.
It can be the classic Dave Meltzer 5-star match for all we know.
Yeah,
and it can happen. And sometimes those kind of things create history. If you don't believe me, ask Dusty Rhodes.
Right.
Ask anybody who's seen when Dusty Rhodes is around doing stuff.
Very true.
So
very, very true.
Coin toss, in my opinion.
And also with our founding father, Harley Race as well. Same thing, same lines as Dusty Rhodes.
Yep.
But with this Continental Challenge Cup, as many great wrestlers are in this, I just don't see Jon Moxley losing the championship in this Challenge Cup.
No, I mean, I'm looking at it. What storyline are they going to bring to make people at All In be invested in the cup? Are you going to bring back the storyline versus Eddie Kingston? Are you going to bring back the storyline now against Kyle O'Reilly?
True.
You know,
Yeah.
or are you going to have someone like Jay White, who
Well, I mean,
really
being-
hasn't had that shot against Jon Moxley?
Not only being a wrestling fan, but also a part of the business, as all of us are. When does a feud really ever stop?
It doesn't.
No.
It never does.
No.
It truly never does. To this day, both of them. Well, no, one of them retired. Triple H retired. The Rock. Semi.
I guess.
He's a movie star.
The way in between Tiger.
Like anytime they get together, that rivalry is still there. It always is. To this day, WWE versus WCW, still a rivalry that would never be old, even though one went out of business.
Very true. Very true. Real quick before we continue on, since you brought that up,
sure.
WCW or WWE, which were you more a fan of?
During the Monday Night Wars, I was on the fence because the NWO early days of NWO was really great, you know, and I was a big mark for Scott Hall, you know what I mean? And no offense to Kev, but I was a big Scott Hall mark. But DX had something real special, and those were the two things that really changed the tide of Monday Night War, and so it was tough to say. Both promotions. I do know that I would wear a bunch of WCW shirts, so that's probably where I would lean. I remember wearing NWO shirts more than WWE shirts, so I'll probably say WWE.
How much do you wish that when they took the Jeep and they were at the back door of
that they actually opened the door?
That would have been wild. That would have been pretty wild to see, honestly.
When I saw that, first thing I was thinking, like, somebody shows up, it's a lawsuit, the show's over. Please don't let the show be over.
Ms. McKenzie? WCW or WWE? Which one did you gravitate more?
WCW, and then I'm going to be controversial. I'm going to say WWF.
Okay. Nothing wrong with
I grew
that.
up watching WWF, and then when it became the Attitude Era and everything like that, it was like, all right, kind of. Then my mom watched me saw it. It was like saw me watching it, and it was just like, turn the TV.
Oh.
That means
Oh no!
I'm going to find a way to watch
So
it.
the question is, did you sneak back in and turn it back on?
Oh yeah, late night stuff.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Love it.
I will throw in that if I had a choice, it would be ECW all day at the time. So
Absolutely.
I was an ECW kid.
I loved it. Loved it. I'll be honest. I'll say it. I am definitely from those days on a Paul Heyman guy.
Yeah.
I love Paul Heyman's work from ECW on. But I'll be honest about it. In WCW, not so much as Paulie Dangerously. He really wasn't all that great, to be honest, in my opinion. But once ECW started up, my God, skyrocket. It was a skyrocket, and he's still on that rocket.
Yeah.
Sandman, Old School Dudley Boys, and freaking EWO.
Taz,
Tommy
Dreamer,
yeah.
Sabu.
Yeah, dude.
New Jack.
God
New
bless
Jack.
New Jack.
What a controversial dude that guy was. Oh my
He didn't
goodness.
have to be a heel.
He just had to just go.
Right.
He just had to show up.
himself and show up.
Yep.
But speaking of that Continental Challenge Cup, it started off on Dynamite. Jay White taking on David Finlay in an opening round, and Jay White hitting that Blade Runner, getting the win over his longtime rival, David Finlay.
Yeah, but the question is Jay White hurt now? I mean, he took
Again.
a beating.
He did.
And looked like he couldn't even stand.
I've seen worse happen, and I believe it's appropriate that was the first round, right, of that, and because David and Jay they've fought before. It's like, what do I always say in the back? It's like, I've seen this match before. It's like, yeah, I kind of have, and so yeah, that's probably a good first rounder to have, but no, Jay's been through hell and back. Throughout the
He has.
country, you know, especially in New Japan.
I think it was over 500 days that he was out with injury, something around those lines, and that's a long time to be away from the wrestling ring as a performer.
Really is.
And then to be able to come back in and performing at the level that he's now doing, I mean, I'll be honest, he's still got a few more notches to get to before he's back at that same level that he was when he first got injured. But man, he's on that serious incline right now where it ain't gonna be very long before he's right back up there, just like that.
Agreed.
The TNT Championship on the line as Kevin the Jet Knight taking on Chris Jericho, superfan.
You know, I'm glad Jericho's back, but I'm also kind of ready for a retirement tour.
I don't know.
Not me, man.
Not me either.
You know,
go until the wheels fall off.
I gotta give credit where credit's due to one of the hardest workers in wrestling, because man has no.
Right. Cool.
Man has no need to be doing the things that he's doing, but he's doing it just for the sake of doing it.
Right. I mean, him bring her back Painmaker. Come on. I mean,
This is a man who brought a live drill at Beach Break, I think it was, for against Tommaso Ciampa, and you know, what did I read on the report? It's like referee stoppage due to prevention of actual murder. No, Kevin Knight's an amazing athlete. Yeah, it was kind of expected how it was going to go, but no, I give credit where credit's due. Kevin Knight gets one over on Jericho. That's a notch that he can add on his resume.
Take that off your
But Chris Jericho, I mean, good Lord have mercy. That man and the career that he's had, and to be able to reinvent himself so many doggone times, he's got to be up there as one of the greatest wrestlers in the world of all time.
And that's the epitome of wrestling, is like, if you're gonna do it, you're gonna want to do it until the day you die. That is Chris Jericho. He's gonna do it
For
until,
sure.
like you said, the wheels fall off, until that car disintegrates.
He's the only one in history to reinvent himself so many times and be successful each time. Name one reinvention that wasn't successful.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, 100%.
And he has a great career deal, so that's pretty cool.
You know, like, we've only got a couple of minutes left here because the NWA New Mexico crew is going to have to jump on out of here in just a few minutes. But again, I want to say thank you so much to every single member of the NWA New Mexico crew that came up, helped with yesterday's NWA Showcase, the 2026 Territory Classic, and also for being here on Uncensored Wrestling Talk. You know, it was an awesome time to have you guys, and we hope that in the future we'll be able to see you guys again and have you right back here on Uncensored Wrestling Talk.
Guarantee
Let's do it again.
Let's
Thank
do it.
you guys so
Even
much.
if it's you guys calling in to the show, we definitely want more with you guys, because you know what? Now we're family.
Call me. I got time.
Yep.
For sure.
Seriously.
And with that, thank you so much to all of you for watching Uncensored Wrestling Talk. And until next Sunday morning, right here, both on Facebook and YouTube and the radio, as I always say, go watch some wrestling. Woo.
Yeah, thank you for my fidget toy.
Yeah, I had to have something.